You damn right. Hope everybody's having a good Monday. July coming to a close. Summer seems to fly by faster and faster as life goes by. When I was a kid, I felt like it went by slowly. Those 3 months, you get the whole thing, June and July and August, and you used to have to go back to school till after Labor Day, but now they're making the kids go back in August, and it's just a different deal. But mainly, we hope you're just surviving this summer because it is 100 and you-know-what every day again. It is Chad and Zay on this Monday. I'm back. I'm Chad Hastings off of a week of vacation. Shout out to the bosses for letting me have one more week of vacation. I am joined, as always, by the one and only Isaiah Collier. What's up, Zay?
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Happy Monday, everybody. Feeling good, feeling great. Welcome back, Chad. How was vacation?
It was good. It was good. I was able to just kind of chill out a little bit. Watched multiple movies. Some I had seen, some I hadn't seen. We'll get to a little bit of that in the crab bag. But, hung out with the girls, had some good meals, drank a bit. I don't know if don't know if I drank more than you did on your honeymoon, but I can guarantee you there were no frozen drinks on my trip.
So you were tougher than me.
We were trying to be a little manlier. Now, if you consider a margarita on the rocks manly, but to me, the margarita on the rocks is at least manlier than the frozen version.
Did you get spicy at least?
No, generally I just go salt.
Yeah.
And just tear it up.
Yeah, you are Caucasian, so spice might be a little difficult for you at times.
I've also really become a fan of the margarita beer combo. Start with the margarita because obviously you got to go. We all know the lesson, right? Liquor before beer, never fear. Beer before liquor, never sicker. You got to set your foundation with liquor, kids, if you're paying attention to that.
Yeah, I never got that one.
Yeah, we've gotten messaging on the text line and emails that people really love it when we talk to the kids about substances. So this is Uncle Chad and Uncle Zay reminding you, kids, once you turn 21 and can legally drink, you got to go liquor first, then beer. That helps out generally. So the margarita first and then a beer. Did that a few times. Had a good vacation, and we'll be talking some about that. There's a lot of football to get to. How about a nice round number? How about 40 days, eh?
Man.
How about 40 days till we find out if Steve Sarkisian's Texas Longhorns are going to stack up against Rice? But we all know what we're going to be thinking. We're all going to be doing football math. We're all going to think we're experts that day. Well, this may not work against Alabama. Well, how's that going to work against Alabama? Well, what if that line does that against Alabama? That's 40 days away. Texas and Rice. 45 days from now, NFL's first game happens with the Chiefs and Lions, who are already in training camp. Everybody else is joining them this week. And the NFL's first Sunday is 48 days away. We'll get to that. In fact, we'll start with some NFL stuff. But let's go ahead and start with Elephant in the Room. Zay mentioned Elephant in the Room a little bit last week. I do not know what has been said today by, I guess it would be, Bucky and Jeff maybe filling in some blanks today and giving their comments. But finally, some specific information was released last week so that our guys could kind of talk about what's going to happen. And it's a little bit unique where sometimes it's like one person that will leave a show, and sometimes it may be one show that changes. But in this case, there's a lineup that is going away a week from tomorrow, and we're going to be able to celebrate that lineup right till the end. And I do appreciate that part because not everybody gets a last show. But as far as we know, we're getting a last show a week from Tuesday. So that's what I'm going to be doing. What we're going to be doing, I think, is just celebrating the lineup overall. I say it all the time. Sounds a little stupid, but it's true. The shows are living things. The shows have a birthday and they have a death day. And I'm one of those that keeps up with dates. I can remember sometimes when I started dating someone or when I did this or did that. And like for this show, it's September 26th of last year. That's what I consider our actual birthday. And then August 1st is going to be the last show. But it's one of those weird forced divorces. There aren't many forced divorces in real life. But in this world, we have forced divorces. I'd like to keep working with Zay, and Zay'd like to keep working with me, as far as I know. Is that right, Zay?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But they're telling us, no, the last show is going to be August 1st. So we're going to get everything we can out of it. We appreciate your support, and we're going to do what we always do. We're going to try to take your mind off of your real life stuff while trying to deal with a little bit of our real life stuff. But we will also be saying goodbye to, man, Bucky and Aaron, Like the Tower, and Ball Don't Lie. Not to mention Saturday shows, Sunday shows, and weekly shows, and some of these other things that that you're not going to be hearing anymore on 104.9 The Horn. You've probably heard 104.9 is going to be, that signal is going to be changing. And then The Horn will continue on 101.9 and AM 1260. And at some point, as far as I'm understanding it, on August 2nd, there will be a new lineup of sorts. We don't know exactly what that is, and we certainly have not been able to, we haven't been given permission to tell you, but I also don't know what it is, so I don't know what I would be telling you. But anyway, we will have our last show next Tuesday. So effectively, Zay and I have 5 shows left together because we have these 4 shows this week. Zay's actually off on Friday, previously scheduled. And I'm actually going to have Ty Henderson and our man Jacob Standard come in and do the show with me on Friday. And then those 2 guys are going to do the show on Monday. Zay's also off next Monday. I'm off as well. Got to take care of a little personal matter. But then we will be back next Tuesday for one last show. And then, we'll see what happens after that. But it's going to be an interesting week or so. I'm glad they let us to have a last show. And Zay will, it's going to be fun like always.
Yeah. It's crazy because I didn't put two and two together because, again, like, just being a sports fan, I've been watching a lot of 30 for 30s lately. And the first one I started on, Chad, which I've already seen, was The Last Dance.
No,
I don't know why. It just happened from episode 1 through 10, an hour long, one of the greatest documentaries ever made, going back to Michael Jordan's incredible career and then that final season with the Chicago Bulls in 1998 and, just doing it right. Kind of like they did, even though this is it, doing it the right way, giving the fans what they want, even though it's tough, hey, we got to move on. And yeah, man, I'm going to miss you, but hey, we both got big things in the future and this ain't the last you're going to hear of us. I know that. Yeah,
it's going to be tough. It's just weird, it's a weird thing, but first and foremost, I think a lot of us, we think of each other immediately. You think of guys and you want everybody to be successful and all that. But then pretty quickly, we always think of the listeners and we think of the clients and all that. So we're certainly thinking of you today as well. Somebody texted in, Mama Longhorn loves Zay and Chad. Thank you, Mama Longhorn.
Thank you, Mama Longhorn. She's been a fan since day one.
We appreciate that. Someone texts, so y'all don't know who's staying or going yet. Not specifically where we can tell you no, but as far as I know, Zay and I don't have a show on August 2nd. I'll just put it that way.
I'm gone. I'll let y'all know that.
I will just. Yeah, true. Zay has already mentioned that. I believe that is going to be the case. But we're gonna have a lot of fun till the end of it because that is what we do, and we thank you for being out there. Your Specs text line is the same, 337-3776. So just to address that, I know it's already been dealt with and addressed. So I appreciate that the powers that be let the guys talk about it last week and kind of get things processed. Excuse me. And above all else, I hope in the next week or so I can do what I hope I've done since last September and what I've always tried to do on a show. In addition to running my own mouth, I try to show off the talent around me, and it's been a blast working with Isaiah. I've loved working with him, and I thought it would work. And it did. And some people have texted me about, well, how did this come together? Whatever. I've told you, it was my idea. And if I'd come up with an idea that they thought was completely insane, they might have said no, but it was my idea. I was asked, hey, who do you want to do a show with? And that's the first name that popped out of my mouth. I said, this will work. I think it'll work. And it did. So hopefully I get to keep showing off Zay's talent for at least one more week. And then obviously I think Zay, and are confident about your talent. And I'm hoping that we have and I have shown you off enough that it's going to matter to somebody else. That's my hope.
Oh, absolutely. And I appreciate everything that you've done for me, man. You're a legend in these parts for seems like over 2 decades or so. You've been doing it and doing it the right way. You've had some of the best partners. And I talked about it last week, like low key, the pressure that I had being on a show with you, because you've had just great people that you've worked with over the years, from Kedge to Trey Elling, Kevin Dunn, like, et cetera, all guys that I look up to, and I also look up to you. So producing, Chad and Kevin, and producing Shirts and Skins and shows like that, like, it was an honor to do that. So the fact that you thought of me when, things got crazy and you needed a new partner, man, it's all love, and the bond that we share never be broken.
Now, I appreciate you saying that. I should say probably right now for the record that maybe at the very beginning I should have mentioned to you that in addition to me getting a reputation for killing famous people when I talk about them, there are some that believe that everyone that works with me on radio either gets fired, leaves, or both. So I probably should have mentioned that early on.
Yeah.
I apologize for not mentioning
it's
that.
all good. It's all good. This is one of those situations where
I lean with the positive.
I
just lean with the positive. Hey, you want to do a show? And I probably should have mentioned that other part. I probably should have mentioned.
It might not last too long, but it can happen.
Before you move in, did I mention the whole house is cursed? Did I mention that? It was built on a burial ground. No, we didn't get to that part. All right, so we will roll on today, 40 days from Texas football. We got some Longhorn football recruiting news coming up the last week or so. Zay told you about the good news late last week. There was a little bad news over the weekend recruiting-wise for Texas. We will get to that. But let's start with a little NFL. Training camps are open. We will get to some of those stories that are out there, some good, some bad. But Zay, let's start with this running back story. I was fascinated by this overnight as I'm seeing, wait a minute, did that story say the running backs are having a Zoom call to talk about their plight? Is this real?
Life's rough for them.
And they want it out, obviously, because Pro Football Focus is talking about it, and Ian Rappaport got a version of it. So we're not just talking about the scrubs either. This isn't the second and third running back saying, we need more money, man. No. This is orchestrated by Austin Eckler, put together a Zoom call. You know how you have to have a host on a Zoom call? And he or she has to start the Zoom meeting. Right. Eckler got it started.
Oh, he's been the maddest one. You could tell this makes him so angry. I know they're all angry, but he's been dealing with this for a while, getting hosed by the Chargers. And, he's hot.
So here are the names that I saw on this Zoom call, Zay, were Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, CMC, and Josh Jacobs. Those are the ones that I jotted down. Some of the biggest running back names in this business are on this Zoom call, and I don't know, they're just kind of venting about the situation.
Yeah, take a listen to what Nick Chubb said today at Browns training camp. I mean, he's being completely, realistic when it comes to the running backs. They are valued for a reason, and listen to what Nick Chubb says about that. Okay, maybe not. Oh,
come on, Nick, you can do it. Man, they don't even want him to talk, do they?
There we go. We got it.
McCaffrey and Derrick Henry and Saquon all had a lot of good points, but the biggest thing is that we're in a position that our production hurts us the most. If we go out there and run for 2,000 yards with so many carries, the next year they're going to say, you're probably worn down. That's the biggest thing that I took from it. It's just, it's tough. It hurts us just to go out there and do good. It hurts us at the end of the day.
Damn.
Yep, he's exactly right.
I'm about to say he's not wrong.
What, worn down. They say that about Texas running backs, like in high school when they go off to another college and stuff. Ask Bucky Gappo, who dealt with running backs when he was a coach at the University of Texas in the 90s. He was terrified of that. Yep. He would be like, man, these guys are stars, but they would get the ball like 40 times a game, and they would have over 300 yards, and the stats would be crazy, and they would be big-time blue-chip players. Then they get to campus, and you'd be like, yo, this dude's in the tub and in the training room every other day. Why is he so beat up? Because of all the touches he got. And the same thing for these running backs. All these touches, it'll catch up to you. So we know the stats. Once you turn 27, decline. It just is what it is. And there's a whole bunch of guys that have been paid. And then once they hit that mark, they start to decline, and their value is nothing. From Zeke to guys like Melvin Gordon, like guys like that have made it very tough for the elite running backs like Nick Chubb, Saquon, Josh Jacobs, etc. So it's not going to get any better. And you could go back to Bill Belichick. I can't name one. Kevin Falk. That might be the only running back I can name that won rings with Belichick. Other than that,
didn't Corey Dillon get one?
No, I don't think.
Did he not?
Maybe.
I see where you're going though for the blame on Bill.
Ain't like. The way that he used them, he didn't care because he knew, okay, we're going to be good on defense and we're going to pay the edge rushers, Willis McGahee, guys like that, Thomas, and then it all worked out. So it's a copycat league, and there's so many things that are going against running backs right now. It's very sad, but this is kind of what Nick Chubb says. It is what it is.
So I didn't realize this, but it makes sense when you read it, that it's Christian McCaffrey's the highest paid guy right now at the position. He averages just over $16 million a season. He signed in 2020. He's with the Niners. The contract runs through 2025. So he's right around 16. But then when you think about where the other two big skill positions have gone, we know quarterback is up at 40, 45, whatever, up over 40 million a year for those guys. And then the receivers, Zay, correct me if I'm wrong, the highest paid receivers in the league are around 20, aren't they?
Yep, 19.7 million.
Okay. So highest paid again, around 16. Not that far off, but then the other issue is what's the number? What's that cap number? I think it might be more around 10.
10 million.
You get the average, right? Average of the top 10. So for the Ezekiel Elliott's, actually not about Zeke. Let's go to the other two guys. Saquon Barkley, and there's another name that's out there right now that just got the franchise tag but didn't sign it. Who am I thinking of,
Josh
Zay?
Jacobs?
Jacobs, thank you. Those two guys got the franchise tag but haven't signed. Tony Pollard, for Cowboys fans, he got tagged, but he did sign.
Yeah.
So he's in, ready to roll. And remember, franchise tag 1 year. And this gets back to the durability issues, and the weird game that they have to play. They want security. They would like some kind of security, and maybe more than any other position, unlike some of the receivers and maybe even quarterbacks and some of the other players, I think the running backs want as long a deal as you'll give them. Some of these other guys want to cut it short. Like, I'd like a 4-year deal. The team would like a 5. But I feel like a lot of running backs are thinking, hey, would y'all give me 6? Because I'd take it. I would take it if you give me that kind of peace of mind moving forward. But, I mean, you laid it out. It's about the age. It's about the durability. And I don't know how to fix it because as you're talking, all I could think of was like starting pitchers in baseball. We fixed that over my life. It used to be you just wear a kid out. You'd wear him out and let him throw 200 pitches a day, and who cares? His arm fell off. Okay, well, go find another job. But now we figured it all out with analytics. And plus, they get those days off. They get 4 full days off between starts. You don't give NFL running backs don't get like, well, now he's going to get 2 weeks off or 2 full, weeks of recovery or whatever. So all they can do, the only way to save them is what? Is put them in a committee. Well, now if you put them in a committee, they don't have as many numbers. Mm-hmm. So then this is Austin Eckler's problem, by the way. That's why he put a Zoom together. That's why he's typing the Zoom call with running backs, because he's one of those guys. He's a committee guy. Derrick Henry's a workhorse guy. But I think both of them end up hurting themselves long term, and I don't know what to tell them. I don't know what to tell him, Zay.
No, but Eckler puts up numbers, too. Even though he's a committee guy, he puts up serious numbers, and he's a really good receiving running back. And, when you're the best player on the team at the running back position, especially Saquon, like his situation, I feel bad for him. Like the podcast he was on, he was cussing and stuff. F you, I could just F and sit out, all this and that. And I felt his pain because Daniel Jones is getting paid. Got some serious paper up there in New York. Does he deserve it? Not over Saquon.
Right.
Not over him, but Daniel Jones' value, he's going to be there for maybe 15 plus years because of the position that he plays and how the NFL protects that position. And Saquon, again, you're getting beat up every single time you touch the ball, 8 guys coming to hit you, 7 guys like taking direct shots. And in order for you to be good, you're supposed to fight through that. You can't be like Tyler Lockett and every time he catches the ball, he goes straight down. That's not what it is.
Yep.
Literally what they tell you as a running backs coach, like, you got to fight for every, you gave up on this play. You see this, you going sideline. What you doing? You could have picked up 4 more yards. Coach, I want to be available. That's what I would say.
And
I'd be like, nah, F that 4 yards, coach. I want to be able to play next week.
Yeah, they invent stats for what you're talking about. Yards after contact. They didn't talk about that when I was a kid. They talk about it now.
It's tough.
They come up with all those different ways to interpret it. We'll keep our eyes on that running back situation, but yeah, it is not the best time financially to be a running back in the NFL. So they got together to talk about it, but in the end, I can't remember if it was Chubb or who it was quoted as just, I don't know. I don't know what we do. I mean, what do you tell him?
He's the worst person because he's one of those guys where like, I'm a millionaire already. I'm good. Like Nick Chubb's so humble. Like he's one of those guys. I'm just blessed to be here.
Yeah.
Which
I get that. Yeah, and we are talking about guys that if they get the tag, they're making $10 million in a year. That's a ton of money. We get that part. But they're looking at it as their position is not accelerating like the other positions are. The cap number goes up every year. Money goes up every year. The league makes more and more money every year. And guys like Patrick Mahomes and Devontae Adams and those type of guys just keep making more and more and more. And it slots up and slots up and slots up. And Christian McCaffrey is thinking, wait a minute, I got to do that and that and that.
Yeah.
To get up to my $16 million?
You remember how hard Deebo Samuel was trying to convince the front office for the 49ers that he was a wide receiver just so he wouldn't get hosed for that running back money? Because they were like, dog, you get beat up a lot. He was like, okay, I don't want to be running back no more. He flat out said, all right, don't put me there no more.
Right.
Because that's not – y'all aren't going to hose me. Y'all aren't going to put me in this running back. I came in as a wide receiver. I'm just versatile, and – this is what the coach wants. I'm a team guy. Don't hose me. And they were like, they kind of met in the middle, but still, like guys like that, those Swiss Army knives, you're going to see a lot less of them just because they understand that, hey, if I play more running back, I'm going to get that running back money. And we see how disgruntled these guys are. They don't want that.
Here's a weird question, though I'm sure we can look it up fairly quickly. What's the cap number for tight ends? Do guys want to be a tight end more than they want to be a running back these days?
I got that.
With the Kelce's and the Kittles.
11.3 mil.
It's a little higher?
11.3 mil.
A little higher than the running back number.
And Travis Kelce, he's gone out and said how upset he is about the tight end number.
Yeah. Because I get it why you want. We've also had guys go through, no, I'm a receiver, not a tight end.
Yeah.
Because that gets you more money, up about a $7 million difference or something like that. But even now, the tight end getting a little more love than the running backs. That is a wild story. And again, at this moment, Barkley and Jacobs have not signed their tag. So if they don't sign it, they could sit out. They can still, I think to a certain point, there's a certain point where they could still get a long-term deal done. I think they can do that during training camp if they want. But if they don't do it and then they sign the tag, then it's the one-year deal. If they don't sign the tag, they could sit out. They could pull the, what was his name, Le'Veon Bell thing.
Yep.
Just try to sit out and see where that gets you.
Which that dude, he just said recently how he regrets that move.
Yep.
He just said it.
Disappeared. Just disappeared.
Completely fell off. By the way, Chad, you want to know who the last 3 championships that the Patriots won, 2018, 2016, 2014, running back in 2014, LeGarrette Blount, 2016, LeGarrette Blount, 2018, Sony Michel.
Wow. There you go. There it is.
A lot of who's? I mean, we know LeGarrette Blount, but more because he likes to punch people.
He did punch that guy. He did punch that dude after a game. I still couldn't believe he got a career after that. When I saw that happen, I thought, oh my God.
Man.
Is he ever going to play again? Yeah, he did. He did get to play.
Yeah.
That was Oregon, by the way, if you don't remember, for LeGarrette Blount. Punching that dude from Boise
State.
Boise State after the game, just bam.
Yep.
All right, training camps have opened. We will get some stories there. There's already a bad injury or two in the NFL. There's also some great news for a local stud product that we all know the name of. We'll talk about that. Also up next, Texas recruiting. Some good news last week, but bad news over the weekend up in my neck of the woods where a kid picked who over Texas? We'll tell you on the Horn. All right, this is Chad. Let's talk a little Apple leasing, taking a little vacation, a driving vacation. We'll definitely remind you about the importance of having a reliable car. Got to have enough space to pack everything in for those vacations. Maybe you just got off of a vacation like I did and you realize, man, that van's not going to make it. That SUV's not making one more of these trips in the heat, and maybe the air conditioner's a little suspect. And my God, what is this, 10, 12 years? Is it 15 years now? Apple Leasing can make sure that you have a reliable car for the trips, for whatever it is. Maybe you got a student heading off to school pretty soon. Apple Leasing can help you there. It is any make, any model, any car, any truck. That's what's great. You may have different options. Let's say you have 5 options that would take you to 5 different dealerships. You don't have to worry about all that legwork because Apple Leasing will do it for you. They've got connections at all 5 of those dealerships, plus others in the area and in the region and in the state and around the country if they need to. They'll find all the options for you. It is the easiest and safest way to get a new car. They will make sure it is so simple for you. I've been through the process, and you will be amazed. They get you the same discounts and incentives that the dealers do, but they pass those savings on to you, keep the hassle for themselves. All you do is call 346-9977. That's it. Get it started just like I did, 346-9977, or get them online at appleleasing.com.
Chad and Zay.
Oh, there we go. This is perfect for a sunny, hot day because every time I saw this video, it looked like it was 700 degrees where they filmed it. Rock the Casbah by The Clash.
Was this it for them?
No. This was kind of the last part of it for them in terms of MTV when they had a video. But before this, they had the famous London Calling album. Should I Stay or Should I Go?
Oh, okay.
It was The Clash. Yeah, The Clash is a good band. Good, solid rock band from back in the day. So shout out to The Clash. A lot of good text coming in on the Specs text line. And we got this one, Zay, from our man Colonel Flowers. Says, Chad and Zay, you both also produced The High Ground a few times. Jamie and I thank you both. Shout out to Colonel Flowers.
Thank you, Colonel.
And we will be reminding you throughout the week, this Saturday will be the last shows for our Saturday lineup. So if you've gotten to love those Saturday shows, one more time, say goodbye to them this week, and we wish nothing but the best to Colonel Flowers and Jamie Frazier. Jamie Frazier's ended up on multiple shows on Saturday helping out. He does a great job, and Colonel Flowers is one of those genuine articles that I like to talk about. He is just a genuine dude. So shout out to you guys, and that will be High Ground is 10 to 11 a.m. on Saturday. Don't miss it.
Yeah, let me give a shout out to Rick Epstein, too. Under the Lights. That's my guy.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first shows I ever produced for here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
put me on.
That's the thing. I don't know. I hope Under the Lights can survive somewhere.
Yeah,
doing a lot of good stuff for the high school world.
Absolutely.
And following high school football. By the way, speaking of high school football, Flex segment 1:30, the All Flex watch list begins this week. We got offensive and defensive line to talk about today, so we will get into that. Somebody else texted in, Chad, I remember the first time I came to this area and found the Horn, I was like, an Aggie on the radio? Very quickly, you've become my favorite Aggie outside of family members I gotta deal with. Much love. I'm not sure if that's a compliment, but
that's deep.
I think I'll take it that way. Okay. And then let's see. Where this says... really sucks, but for sure, don't doubt your talent. Chad and Zay, hands down, the best show in the lineup. Thank you very much. That is saying a lot because all the shows are great. Somebody else texted, so Sark did right by Bijan by not using him effectively last season. See, I don't know if I would look at it that way. There's no need to look at it that way.
Redemption season, Sark.
Yeah, this one, this spurt Lakeway Traditional Martial Arts. Oh, maybe a shout out to a company there. This says, I've always listened to Chad. I'm a big fan. I wasn't sure about Zay at first, but he's really good, and I'm a fan of his now, too. There we go. Zay's basketball breakdown is the best I've heard on the Horn. Then I've done my job.
Good looking out, y'all.
That's exactly
Appreciate the love.
What I wanted people to hear. And I know our basketball fans have definitely gotten to hear some great takes from Zay. And randomly out of nowhere, somebody texts, Chad, what are your top 5 WWE entrance songs?
Oh, man.
What the hell?
Yo, let's hit it.
Where did that come from?
We might as well. We're here.
I mean, I would say The Undertaker comes to mind.
Which one? American Badass Limp Bizkit? Or...
No. I'm glad you clarified that. No.
Pre-fam the pre-valve, hands on the hands now. Back up. What you want to do now? Come on, man.
Now I enjoyed the big U on a motorcycle, but I'm going with the bong. I'm going with the dead man entrance.
Look. Undertaker, Limp Bizkit, WrestleMania, I don't remember which one, but Fred Durst performed in the ring. He rolling. Iconic. You can't lose when Limp Bizkit is out in the ring performing. You can't lose.
That's the first one I would bring up. And then the two classics I would bring up are 2001 theme with Ric Flair and the Graduation song with Randy Savage. I think those two are classics that you don't expect. Like, if you really just think about it, you're like, wait, that's just the theme from 2001. I know, but it became something else with him. So I'd throw those two out. And probably the Real American intro for Hogan. Or maybe you want to go or maybe the Voodoo Child entrance from Hogan. That NWO.
Okay,
when he would fire up the...
That was hard. That was fire. I like that, yeah.
And that voice would come in with, New World Order. That was great.
Yo, if I had mine, you gotta do Stone Cold when that glass breaks, man.
Yeah, there's a fifth one. That would be a 5. That's man. It. That's perfect.
Chills. Gotta go with, just because he's a great friend of the show, great friend of you and
Mhm.
I, Mark Henry's sexual chocolate entrance.
That's a great one.
Combine that with 3 6 Mafia.
I was going to say, I always enjoyed that one. Somebody's going to get their ass kicked. I thought, that's a great way to come to the ring. Because it was all about Mark right there.
Yeah.
Right? Just the physicality of it and World's Strongest Man and all that it was. I thought that was great.
Yeah, Goldberg, just because of the fire hitting them. Dun, 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 dun. He always came out with like security guards. Like, why is security here? Why is the police taking them out? I never understood that. Why was that a thing?
He would headbutt the door and then he would breathe fire. I always thought that was so cool when they'd throw the sparks on him and he'd suck up the smoke and the sparks somehow and then breathe the smoke back out. It was incredible.
Yeah, I hope he's okay. I hope he's good. I've been seeing him on TV and stuff, so he looks good still. Looks swole.
That's easily the best entrance that produced the shortest matches because his entrance was twice as long as every match.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
The jackhammer came in about 3 minutes or so.
Done.
Yeah.
And we're done. All right. There you go. Thank you for that distraction.
We're going to have a lot of that.
We'll have a few. We'll have a few, yeah. So NFL training camps have opened. Before we get to this Texas stuff, Zay, I just want to give Garrett Wilson a little love because those videos over the weekend of him and Aaron Rodgers starting to get chemistry. Look out, AFC East. That is some big-time stuff. Garrett Wilson, that one in the back of the end zone was special.
Yo, I mean, he's so special. Everybody in the NFL is on birdwatch with Garrett Wilson because they know how good he is coming into the league, and the addition of Aaron Rodgers just took that up a notch. So I'm so excited for Hard Knocks and excited for the season to get started. I mean, you saw Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner going at it. I mean, that's must-see TV. Sauce Gardner, one of the best cornerbacks in the National Football League, him being 6'3" and stuff. I think Aaron Rodgers is like, yo, this is going to get me better. All the cornerbacks that Aaron Rodgers seen over his career, Sauce Gardner, he's a different type of physical specimen. So, yeah, those New York Football Jets, they're going to be very exciting to see this season.
Did you see the Sauce gift to Aaron Rodgers?
Yes, I did.
See that video?
I did.
He gave Aaron a blingy number 8 chain, put it around his neck, and then they had a nice bro hug.
Yo, that's building that chemistry
That's
already.
Sauce. It's good. Not as good as the Sauce thing, the Sauce when he made for the draft. That's nothing's better than that, but it was pretty good. So watch out for the Jets. Congrats to Garrett Wilson for still being a badass. He and Aaron Rodgers, man, that's a deadly combination to watch, and I've got to think fantasy owners are going to be paying attention to Garrett Wilson early in their drafts. Wherever you're going to be starting to take receivers, I wonder how high he's going to go in fantasy drafts.
Yeah, and Garrett Wilson was on the outside looking in on the players, execs, scouts, and coaches poll for wide receivers. He was on honorable mention, which he's only had 1 year in the league, so I get it to a certain extent. But, hey, if I'm him, I'm using that as bulletin board material. Easy. Like, oh, this guy, I'm better than him. This guy, I'm better than him. This guy, he was good like 4 years ago. Oh, he's washed. I got Aaron Rodgers on my team now. Watch this.
He's the offensive rookie of the year with those quarterbacks throwing him the ball. What's he going to do when that guy's throwing him the ball?
Oh.
That's all I'll say.
Be careful on those saying those quarterbacks, Chad, because apparently Zach Wilson in his bag. Ever since Aaron Rodgers stepped on the facilities and whatnot, Zach Wilson's looking good.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
That's what they're saying. So, I mean, yeah, last year was last year. But
Is that just you reporting
from
the text you got from his mother?
Yo, I wish I got a text from his mother.
Yeah.
My wife's on the plane right now, so I can say that. Hey, if she texted me, shoot, man.
What's up, Mama Wilson?
What's up, Mrs. Wilson? What's good?
Mrs. Wilson just don't know. All right, so we got some NFL out there. We're 40 days away also from Texas playing Rice. Last week, Zay got to tell you about that latest addition to the Longhorn recruiting class. We talked about Melvin Hills, but the next one was DeAndre Robinson. Big D tackle out of Florida, big 4-star. It's a big get, Zay. That was a bit of the good news. Now, over the weekend, there was another decision that was coming down up in my neck of the woods. I'm a Waxahachie guy, so when I was in school, one of our district rivals was Lancaster. Remember, it's not Lancaster.
Yeah, I always say Lancaster.
It's not England. Remember, when you're in Texas, go with the Texas pronunciation. Lancaster.
Lancaster.
They are the Lancaster Tigers. So there's a safety in Lancaster named Corian Gibson. Badass name. And he had a decision to make. He had schools on his list like Ohio State, TCU, Texas, Clemson. Those were the helmets he had up. Also Bama, A&M, USC. Anybody you can think of that you think is big time, they've all offered him. He'd visited just those first few that I mentioned, and it came down to a lot of people thought this was an orange battle, Clemson and Texas. And Corian Gibson picked Clemson on, I think it was Saturday when he made the choice. And Zay, while I'm not exactly supportive of the decision, I wish he'd pick Texas because we get to, follow these guys that are at Texas. But he did do it from a throne. I'm all for the ostentatious way that these kids get to announce their decision because then sometimes they lose the control a little bit. As long as you have the control, guys, do whatever you want. They brought remember the LeBron ESPN commercial with the throne?
Yeah.
That kind of throne. High-backed gold throne. They set it in front of the Lancaster logo, and he sat there and made his choice. Good for you, kid.
Yeah, congrats to him. I mean, always losing a commitment is tough, but at the end of the day, you can't have them all. And if you're Dabo over at Clemson, I mean, who's won national championships more recent, Texas or Clemson? It's very easy. So who's putting in more pro players, Texas or Clemson? Very easy there. So if you put those two things on the table,
right,
it's hard to compete with. And I know what Sark's doing is big time, and he's getting Texas back to where it needs to be. Now, it has to be proven on the field, but 8-5 was the improvement, getting guys like Arch Manning and, Cook and stuff like that, bringing those guys in, really good freshman classes, recruiting well, the coaching staff looks good, everything's starting to come together. You're going to be competing more with those big-time schools that just won national championships in recent years. So, yeah, can't sweat it. Lancaster kid going to Clemson. Yeah, that hurts. But at the end of the day, they got more skins on the wall than you do.
Yeah, no, and there's just so many. We talked about the recruiting world and how it's changing. These guys that are impactful. Clemson now up to, I'm seeing them number 9 in the country in the recruiting class. They got 17 guys in their class now. Also, I'd forgotten this. He also got a receiver out of Midlothian, also up in that part of the world, up in the Dallas area. Midlothian's got some decent talent, and he is a 4-star guy, a receiver named Bryant Wesco. He picked Clemson. So Dabo's going up to that part of the world. We keep talking about it. Yes, Texas and Oklahoma are now in those living rooms getting to say SEC, getting to use the SEC brand. Yes, Nick. Yes, Kirby. Yes, Brian Kelly and LSU. Yes, Jimbo and A&M. But don't forget about Ryan Day and Dabo, because they're coming down here too. A lot. And don't forget Notre Dame coming down here and messing around. Clemson's having a big-time recruiting run, and the Lancaster kid is the latest one. So Corian Gibson, as of now, of course, you never stop recruiting them now. Texas is going to hope between now and December something changes, but as of now, Corian Gibson is a Clemson verbal commit.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, so that happened over the weekend for Texas, and again, we are 40 days away from Texas and Rice in that first game. Up next, let's empty out the crap bag. I got a crap bag media dump for you, including the Barbie review. I've seen half of the Barbenheimer, and for you history buffs, I'm sorry to say I saw the Barbie half and not the Oppenheimer half. I'll let you know what I thought of it. Coming up at 1:05, we'll talk to Joe Cook of Inside Texas and On3.com, and at 1:30, we'll tell you who's on the all-flex watch list for O-line and D-line. That's all coming up on The Horn.
Chad and Zay.
It's an interesting one for you to play, Zay. I know you've expressed strong feelings in the past about when Elvis covers someone. What do you think about this? This is Cheap Trick covering Elvis.
I'm good with it.
You okay with that?
Yeah.
This is white on white crime. You all right with this?
I'm good with it. Yeah. I'm finding out that it wasn't Elvis that was the biggest swagger jacker. It was the Tom Cruise guy. Tom Hanks guy.
Colonel Parker.
Yes.
Yes, right. That's true. I've never sat through that movie yet, but they do paint an interesting picture of the Colonel, apparently. Yeah. He was pretty hardcore.
Oh, he was tough.
Pretty hardcore.
He was tough.
Cheap Trick and The Clash getting us started today musically. We appreciate all the nice texts rolling in. Specs text line 337-3776. Somebody texted in, Oppenheimer was great, very long. That comes in from our man CB. Chris Bennett went and checked it out.
3 hours.
Is it a 3 spot?
Y'all wildin'. Oppenheimer.
See, that's where us superhero movie people, we've now been trained to get up into that 2.5, 2:45, so we can get to 3.
It can't take that long to make a bomb. That's all I gotta say. It can't take that long.
Oh my God!
Come on, man.
Was there a back order on the casing?
Right?
What happened?
I know they had the A-list cast, but wow, 3 hours. Y'all really wildin'.
I'm interested. I don't know if I'm going to end up seeing that movie in the theater or not. I feel like I need to go see it in the theater. My wife and daughter are not interested in Oppenheimer, but they were interested in Barbie. We'll get to that in the crap bag here. But yeah, I think I may have to go see it. I'm hearing great things about it. Let's talk about Barbie and a couple other things in the crap bag. Here we go.
Chad's crap bag.
Crap bag. If you need an easy way to remember it, just think of a bag of crap.
Brought to you by AV Consultations, 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. Before I get to Margot Robbie, let me talk about one of my favorite listeners of all time, Ole Miss Girl, who thought I was dissing her at the end of the previous week when she did send, I told y'all she was going to send me a rant about that Tennessee story. She did, and then didn't realize I was on vacation. She thought I ignored it. So, to Ole Miss Girl, it's now about a week old or whatever. I won't go through everything, but y'all know what Ole Miss Girl emailed about. She is an Ole Miss fan with Lane Kiffin as her current coach. She refers to refers to them as the fake UT, Tennessee. For all you Texas fans, she thinks y'all are the real UT.
Thank you.
So she's on your side there. She refers to them as mustard. Lane Kiffin showed up at Media Days last week and signed like jars and bottles of mustard for Ole Miss fans. That's what he does now. Like, that's how they refer to Tennessee. And obviously she went over the hypocrisy of Tennessee getting basically, not that they didn't get punished, but they didn't get the biggest punishments because the NCAA doesn't have any teeth and doesn't have any guts.
Just a little slap on the wrist.
Exactly. So, shout out to Ole Miss Girl and the Oxford crew, who is now spread out all over this country because they are done at Ole Miss now. But
and shout out to Josh Heupel talking mess, talking about they're the real UT, or you know the real UT is, whatever. Cool, noted. Okay.
Hey,
and you're an OU guy? Cool.
Yeah.
Extra.
Extra. I have told you, Zay, you're going to find all kinds of weird rivals you weren't even expecting in the SEC, especially being the big brand you are. But get ready for the trademark war. That's what I'm going to call that one. That UT trademark thing. They're going to get on those little logos and who's the real UT and who's this and that. Yeah. Get ready for that.
We ready?
They're gonna be all over it. So we had that. But also, I did go see Barbie over the break and over this week of vacation, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've never really like my wife and daughter really enjoyed this movie. If you were a little girl, or for that matter, a little boy who played with Barbie dolls, which I was not, I was playing with Transformers. But if you played with the Barbie dolls, this movie really hits you specifically. Like, they really dug in. My wife loved it. She was talking about it coming out of this movie. Margot Robbie is fantastic. Just so much fun to just look at her.
Oh, wow.
And if you've ever seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I'll be the first person to compare these two movies in one key way. Margot Robbie can just be filmed, just her face, and you can't stop watching. She doesn't have to speak. She can just be staring, and she's so beautiful and so interesting, you just can't stop looking. And then she throws the acting chops on top of it, and it's magnetic. She's awesome, but I think Ryan Gosling might need an Oscar nom. If somebody can just spare one, my man is unreal as Ken. Really? It is so entertaining, so funny. He is perfect. He's so perfectly cast, and I love the lead up that I heard. We watched one trailer, and it said, if you love Barbie, this movie is for you, and if you hate Barbie, this movie is for you. I would agree. Whether you love or hate Barbie, go see that movie, because it is done with the right amount of tongue-in-cheek, the right amount of, and there's depth to it that you're not expecting, but you'll get it. You get where they're going and what they're setting up. And at times you're like, no, I agree with wait a minute, that's not where they're going. Oh, they're kind of talking about something else. So it's deeper than you think. It's better than I thought it would be. So I would tell you to go see Barbie. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I didn't play with Barbies either, unless if you were doing some inappropriate stuff. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm ashamed to say it.
I'm just going to take 2 pins.
Not really.
Mm-hmm. A little bit of that.
There's a little experimenting. You're young,
Cross swords.
You're trying to figure out what's going on in the world.
Yep.
That's all it is.
Yep.
But the cast looks great. Like you mentioned, Margot Robbie, she's incredible. Her with the cowboy hat. I've been seeing that scene go around. Wow. Wow.
And by the way, there are a couple scenes where she sadly walks away, but you're not sad to watch it happen.
Oh, yeah.
My God.
Yeah.
I mean, she's just breathtaking. There are not many people you could... The idea of, like, when they cast Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, I thought, well, there just aren't many women who could pull that off. Linda Carter pulled it off back in the day. She's pulling it off now. But if you're going to say, who are you going to cast as Barbie? It's a really bizarre idea. But she nails it.
Yeah, she's the only one that I can think of.
She's something, man.
Yeah.
It was really good. Really, really good. All right, couple other quick things. Congrats to Fred McGriff and Scott Rowland. They're into the Hall of Fame. They had that ceremony over the weekend. We're now putting in the guys that makes baseball purists feel good about themselves for putting in the Hall of Fame.
I love Scott Rowland playing that hot corner.
Because they believe in their soul that Scott Rowland never did any drugs, and they believe in their soul that the crime dog never did any of that, so it makes them feel better. And as a Braves guy, I love me some Fred McGriff. He's a legend. He should have been in the Hall of Fame years ago. Why it took the Veterans Committee to put him in, I have no idea. But congrats to Fred McGriff and to Scott Rowland. And finally, in the crap bag today, I would like to send a huge how dare you to the Tennessee Titans. Don't think that because I was on vacation, I missed you taunting all my H-Town friends and family members with your little oil derrick send-out. How dare you? Yes, I'm a Cowboys fan. I am. And I don't root for Houston pro teams. I never have. But I got friends and family that do. I got friends and family that love ya blue. And the fact that you still have that is a crime against sports. You need to figure out a way to get all that to Houston. I am sorry to all you Houston people. They've announced they're going to wear it for 2 home games. And if y'all think one of them is not December 17th when they host Houston, I think you're crazy. They haven't officially announced that, Zay, but I will be shocked with a capital S if they don't pull out the oil derricks for that, just to stick it in Houston's face.
Yeah, I wonder how Houston fans would feel if the Texans and the Titans did like a Charlotte Hornets, New Orleans Pelicans situation. You remember
they absolutely need to.
Yeah, because you remember Hornets, they were in Charlotte. That was where they came about in, I want to say 89 or so. And then they moved to New Orleans for some reason, still the Hornets. And then there were no Charlotte team. They got the Bobcats, and somehow now they're back to the Hornets. They got the Pelicans now. I don't know how that would work. It would take a lot of money, I bet. But I bet you Houston fans would love to be the Oilers again over the Texans. Because what have the Texans done besides blow ridiculous leads in the playoffs and end up losing games? Like, they haven't done anything to make them memorable.
As a Cowboys fan, I would point out that the Oilers also blew leads back in the day, but that's a whole nother discussion. But no, I agree with you. And whether they would actually be the Oilers, it should be their choice. Give them the history. Allow them to have all of it. Do not argue to me that 2 years in Nashville, banging around in college stadiums where, well, look, Steve McNair wore I understand what Steve McNair wore. I get that. We've talked about that, but it was a very little amount of time. It all needs to be in Houston, and we're watching. It was perfect with Cleveland and Baltimore, and they can't figure it out now.
Yeah.
Cleveland, when they got the reboot, they got all the history. They got all of it. They got Brian Sipe and Jim Brown and all. You don't have Baltimore. Imagine right now if Baltimore was claiming Jim Brown. If Baltimore threw back and wore Brown stuff, that would look stupid.
Yeah, that would look whack. Tennessee Oilers, nobody thinks about that. That doesn't even make sense.
Did you see the video where they showed my man Ryan Tannehill wearing the oil derrick?
Yeah, he looked uncomfortable.
It made me want to vomit. I don't have a connection directly to any of it. Again, I'm a Cowboys guy, but I know what's right, and I know what's wrong, and I know how much this state loves that stuff, and I know how much Houston does. And with all due respect to the music capital of this country, Nashville don't love those uniforms like that. They don't. There's no way that Nashville loves the uniform that Earl Campbell wore more than H-Town does.
Yeah, they've bought into the Titans going to the Super Bowl against St. Louis, and then Steve McNair winning MVPs and Eddie George and stuff. All those guys were Titans. Now, even though they wore the Oiler uniforms briefly,
right?
The Titans, they just stay the Titans. No need to go back to the Oilers at all. I'm with you. This is bogus.
And now they've taken another step and gone to the blue helmet. So when they throw back, just go to the white shelled Titans helmet. Throw back to your Super Bowl team. The team that came up a yard short, Kevin Dyson and Steve McNair and that crew, Wycheck and all those guys, that's what you throw back to. It is a silly idea and a disgrace to the NFL that you would dare put those uniforms on when you bring Houston to town later this year.
Yeah, that's a bad move.
That's insane. So don't think I missed that, Tennessee. And also I missed the DeAndre Hopkins. That's his new home, right?
Yeah, that's right.
We finally found a home for DeAndre, but no Dalvin Cook yet?
No.
Back to the running back.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook, he's doing a camp right now for kids and stuff, and they asked him about it, and he said, this is a lifelong decision. I'm going to take my time.
Jerry. Steven. Does anybody have his phone number? I'm just asking. All right, there's your crap bag for this Monday, cleaning up some things from last week. Up next, Joe Cook of Inside Texas and On3.com, his Monday visit. How bad was that bad news when the kid from Lancaster said, I want to go to Clemson? We'll find out. Plus, we're 40 days away from the season. Joe Cook is next on The Horn. Yes. Hour number 2. Just let that Curtis Mayfield wash over you. We hope you are cool and dry and safe and sound today. Hope that heat's not doing too much to you. We roll through July. We are 40 days away from Texas and Rice. NFL's first game 45 days away, and 48 days from now is the first NFL Sunday. We are closing in. It's Chad and Zay on this Monday. I'm Chad Hastings. He is Isaiah Collier. Coming up at 1:30, your All-Flex watch list starts with the offensive and defensive line. We always like to start with the blood and guts, the guys that really get the job done, the blocking and the tackling. We will get to that. Speaking of blocking and tackling, we'll talk about some of that 40 days away and some other Longhorn issues with our man Joe Cook. We do it every Monday about this time. This will be the last Monday edition, so soak it up while it's here. Joe Cook, Inside Texas, on 3.com, at Joseph Cook 89 on Twitter. Joe, how are you?
Doing great, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Man, thank you so much, as always. Lots of Longhorn stuff out there. Let me start with the good recruiting news of late last week. I love a good defensive tackle, and sounds like DeAndre Robinson's a pretty damn good one out of Florida. 4-star guy, 6'5", 290 is what I'm seeing here. What do you like about this move for Sarkisian, if I'm counting right, the second D-tackle in this 24 class?
Yeah, it's a big position of need for Texas. You know, they only took one in the 2023 cycle in Sadir Mitchell. So heading into the league they're heading in, they definitely needed to bulk up and get some more numbers on the defensive line. And DeAndre Robinson definitely helps in that regard. Definitely someone who was prioritized by multiple programs, namely Texas and Florida. Like someone who is ranked higher than a lot of the services have him. I think On3 has him as a 4-star. Most others have him as a 3-star, but when you're 6'3.5" and 295 plus pounds, probably even more than that, and you're at a position of need from Texas, it makes you more valuable to the schools recruiting you than maybe what the services may recognize. So, plus you're going into Orlando, which is more or less Gators territory, and you're getting a guy out of Gators territory and taking him to Austin. So big win for Bo Davis. They are still after several other defensive tackles in this cycle. That's a position group along with defensive end that they're trying to throw some numbers at, throw some quality at, and DeAndre Robinson's just the next step in that part.
Joe, last week, Bucky Gobbo and I talked to you when you were up there at SEC Media Days in Nashville. On the first day, now that it's over with and you're back home and stuff, what did you take away from the whole course of SEC Media Day with Texas coming in? What's that vibe, and how are you treated up there?
It was great. A lot of curiosity from some other media outlets and things like that about what Texas and the SEC is going to look like, and including Oklahoma. But kind of like I mentioned to you and Buck, that a lot of the people there, they're kind of were reminded that Texas is joining the league next year. They've got, if you're a South Carolina fan, you're focused on seeing what Spencer Rattler can do in his senior year. And if you're a Georgia fan, you're trying to see like what a three-peat looks like. There was interest, but there's still, and you even saw some comments from Lane Kiffin about Sarkisian and talking about how this is kind of like the NFL. They don't need to go to the NFL because their schedule kind of looks like one, kind of said jokingly. But that's the thing. There was some curiosity, and I think they're excited for the league to expand, especially in the current era of college football. But most of those teams, pretty much all those teams, have a lot on their plate this coming season. But I bet about this time next year, maybe even after the spring practices, when it starts getting to be really preview time, that's when a lot of these different places, different teams are going to be focusing in on what Texas has to offer. I didn't get to talk to very many Bama people, but they have a little bit more of an interest in what Texas looks like. I didn't get to really feel that, didn't stay long enough to get that sense, but I know just from working with some of the people at On3 and even some other connections that the Bama crowd is definitely a little bit interested in seeing what Texas has to offer.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Joe, I'm surprised like somebody in a houndstooth coat didn't like grab you, throw you against a wall in the hotel. Like, okay, man, tell me about Quinn Ewers. What's going on? Like that there may be a little nervousness about September 9th. Not that Bama fans ever really get nervous, but they have to at least have enough respect for what Texas and Sark could be bringing in that they'd want to know, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But that part of that was because I don't think Bama went until Wednesday, and my flight out was on Tuesday. So
I got you.
I know. I think Saban may have mentioned it. And in fact, I know he did. He said, they expect Texas to bring an outstanding team to Tuscaloosa, and Saban's not one to mince words whenever he says something. I typically take it to mean that there's some reason behind it. And that reason behind him saying Texas has an outstanding team is probably because he believes it, and probably because he has a respect for Steve Sarkisian, but he's trying to have a more outstanding team come September 9th in Tuscaloosa.
Joe, going back to campus with this Texas football team, at this point, you're starting to hear a lot from the freshmen. You heard Sark at Big 12 Media Day talk about Anthony Hill and how much of an impact he's going to be at rushing the quarterback. You've been hearing about Jonte Cook looking like Xavier Worthy's doppelganger. You're hearing a lot of things about these freshmen, which you should because, the highly touted, very good recruiting class. But other than those two guys I just named, are there any other freshmen making an impact where you're going to see them get a lot of minutes the first few weeks of the season?
I think what everybody wants to know about is CJ Baxter, and I think he's going to make some contributions this year. But I think it's also a case where he's got to adjust to the college game and get used to, and I know I've repeated this a ton, get used to running behind zone blocking. If you watch his highlights, it is just basically he's following a lineman in a lot of them. And, there's no problem with that, but it's with Steve Sarkisian in that run game, you've got to be able to run behind a variety of different schemes. And that's something that Baxter apparently has done, acclimated himself pretty well with, but it's something to continue to monitor over the course of over fall camp. Trying to think of some other guys, just because of I would keep an eye at corner with Malik Muhammad. I know the field corner battle is probably thought to be Terrence Brooks and Gavin Holmes, a sophomore out of Little Elm and the Wake Forest transfer. But Malik Muhammad is a guy who has the skill to where he could probably be serviceable, if at the very least this year, if he was needed. I would expect for him to see some conventional down snaps. I'd expect for him to probably be a pretty significant mainstay on special teams, but he's someone who's got the skill set early on to be able to contribute early, in addition to some of the, like the guys you mentioned with Jonte and Anthony Hill.
Talking with Joe Cook, Inside Texas on 3.com. Joe, back to the recruiting world. The bad news for Texas fans over the weekend was Corian Gibson picking a different shade of orange. Can't forget about Dabo in the recruiting world. Corian Gibson out of Lancaster picks Dabo and Clemson over Texas. How big a deal was that for Texas? How big a loss is that if he sticks with Clemson? And then how much more important does a name like, is it Kobe Black or... Do I have that name right? Is it? I know the last name is Black. I may have the first name wrong. But how important does that recruitment become because of this?
Yeah, a little bit of a reminder that Clemson is still a program that's tough to recruit against on the trail. And Corian, that was his pick. I think he throughout the process kind of mentioned Clemson as a dream school, and Clemson always seems to get one from Texas. So this was their one this year. The Longhorns, Kobe Black, Texas is still in a good shape with him, but he's someone who's going to maybe take his recruitment a little bit further into the season, got some season official visits planned out. They do play different positions. Corian, at least at Texas, is probably more in line to be a safety. He has, great straight line speed, but that's probably the position he would have been at. Kobe Black, the sell that Texas is giving to him is that he can, step in and compete for what Ryan Watts' job is over on the boundary should he go to Texas. So that one's important just because it's a top recruit, 5-star from within your state lines. Schools from all over are trying to come in and get him, but and of course he's got some connections to Oklahoma State. They don't seem like they'll be a factor. It looks like it's going to be A&M and LSU who Texas battles most. As far as safety, that's the, since I was position Corian Black was at, Texas already has Jordan Johnson-Rubel from the IMG Academy out in Florida, originally from the Fort Worth area. He's one of the safety guys that they like. Another one that they could start looking that they've looked hard at, but could see some renewed attention toward is Joshua Lair from the Houston area. A little bit more of a thumper than someone who'll run and cover like Gibson was, but someone that Inside Texas is definitely keeping an eye on, and we'll see what Texas moves are with him in the coming weeks.
Joe, let's talk a little bit about the guys who have had injury issues over the previous season or seasons, like Jalen Catalon. You haven't heard much about him, and I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Sometimes that's a good thing when you don't hear about somebody that's staying low-key and just doing their job. But where is he at? Also, Isaiah Nayor, I just saw in one of the social media posts for Texas football, one of the pictures where they're running in the sand, Isaiah Nayor had no knee brace on. So that's big time in my opinion. And then also Jalen Gilbo, who got hurt last year, that's still dealing with that leg injury. How are all three of those guys coming into this year?
Yeah, with Catalon, I go back to what I heard from Jahdae Barron at Big 12 Media Days, and that he said you're going to see the best version of Jalen Catalon this year. So that means to me that he's seen enough of Jalen Catalon over the last, few weeks and months to think that he's going to be ready. I know he was out for most of spring or limited at the very least. I remember Steve Sarkisian said they cleaned something up. I'm assuming that's a shoulder. Stark didn't get specific. I don't know what else it could have been though. But he's an important player, and it makes sense that they can do that because Catalon's play is a little bit more of a known commodity, and that's someone who you want to be able to keep on the field if you think that he's a better option, of course, than someone like Keaton Crawford or Michael Taft. Isaiah Nayor, I'm with you guys. Seeing him run without the brace, maybe that was just for that 5-minute stretch of workouts, but that means that they trust him enough, and I bet it was more than that, but that means they trust him enough and trust his rehab enough to be able to do things like that. He may start out the fall, maybe with that no-touch jersey on, but I bet he's someone who Texas expects to be ready at the beginning of the season. And then Jalen Gilbo, I haven't checked on that one in a while, but I would assume that he's going to be ready to roll. And, if not, that's a place where Jahdae Barron has pretty much locked down at that star position, and that Austin Jordan has provided some good play as well. So we'll see. That's one I'm a little in the dark on, but so far we haven't heard anything about setbacks or anything like that. And I don't think Steve Sarkisian gave any negative update at Big 12 Media Days.
Just one more from me, Joe. A lot of talk about the young guys on this team, and rightly so. But give me a junior or senior you're really pumped about. Either side of the ball, a guy that's had experience, but that you want to see take that next step that you're pumped about checking out in 40 days.
Man, that's a good one. I've been a big Ryan Watts fan since he stepped on campus, and even going back to when he was in high school. I think he's someone that at the boundary position, he's not going to be able to turn and burn with every receiver, but he's the type of cornerback that if he gets physical with you, he can redirect you. He's got real long arms. He looks like a guy who could play linebacker maybe a little bit or something in the box like a safety, but he's out there playing corner. He does it really well. I think another aspect of that is when you're the boundary corner, that means you're a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage. If there's an outside run heading your direction, you got to be able to get in there, and I think he's really good at that. So I really like what he's able to provide at that boundary corner position. I think his play was a little bit underrated last year, and you even saw when he left the field, he had that injury. I think he may have popped his shoulder out. Can't remember I think it was Oklahoma State game. You saw how that injury affected how Texas played. So he's an important one. And then, thinking about offense, it's hard for me not to be excited about Christian Jones. I think after what we saw last year from him and Kelvin Banks, he's someone who I think would have been an undrafted free agent this past year, maybe snuck into the later rounds. But if he can put together another season like the one he had, that's someone who I would expect to hear his name called in the NFL draft next year, because that's 2 seasons of high-level play. Teams are going to be paying attention to Kelvin Banks, of course, but they'll probably look over and see number 70 holding his own and doing more than that as the year goes on. I have a memory of him. Everybody remembers Roschon Johnson hurdling that guy, that Baylor defender, in the last game of the year. Well, part of the reason that play happened was because Christian Jones was escorting a Baylor defender basically from his own 15-yard line to where Bevo is. So that was a play that stuck out to me, and I'd like to see more of that from him this year, and it'll be important with what we expect to be an emphasis on passing with Quinn Ewers and no Bijan and no Roschon on the roster.
Yeah, that's good calls. Joe Cook, Inside Texas on 3.com. If you're on Twitter, at JosephCook89 there on Twitter. Joe, we always appreciate the time, brother. We will hit you next Tuesday on the last show. We'll talk to you one more time before this thing ends. How about that?
Sounds good, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, Joe.
Joe Cook, Inside Texas on 3.com. Zay, real quick before the break, give me a junior or senior you're pumped about today. Who are you excited about?
A junior, I would say Jaylan Ford.
That's
senior,
a great one.
Junior, senior. He's probably senior. He's a senior.
Yeah. That's a great one.
Yeah. I think he's a little heated that he got hosed for Defensive Player of the Year and all those double-digit tackles that he had. I'm expecting that this year. I expect him to be a very high draft pick, probably somewhere in second, maybe third round. We know linebackers don't get that value on the defensive side. They're kind of like the running back when it comes to the defensive side of the NFL. But, yeah, Jaylan Ford, I think he's going to have another huge year. And on the offensive side, I would say Jordan Whittington.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, Jordan Whittington.
No doubt.
He came back for a reason. I just saw his post on social media. He's hanging out with Bevo today. So, that relationship. Big reason why he came back, because of Bevo. Shout out to our mascot.
I love how much he loves Bevo.
Oh, he loves that guy.
I love it. I love it.
So, yeah, I expect him to have a big year, and for all the weapons that you have in the wide receiver room, he should be even more open than he was last year. Hopefully, Sark and Quinn Ewers can find ways to give him the ball more, and if they do, then that means a lot of good things for the Horns.
If I was a Longhorn fan, I'd be looking for a guy to make me feel good about maybe transitioning towards the SEC, experienced guy that shows me he's a badass but makes me think, oh, maybe we are recruiting the type of guy. Mine is Sweat. T'Vondre Sweat.
Okay.
I want to see that development right in the middle, because if you do not have badass D tackles, and going back to this kid in Florida and Robinson and these other guys, if you don't have badass D tackles, Joe just said it, you're going nowhere in the SEC. So those guys are really, really important. I'm going to watch T'Vondre Sweat in 40 days and see what he's looking like against Rice. Obviously, a lot of talent on this team. We'll be talking about it as we get closer to the season. Thanks to Joe for his time. So next week, next Monday, as we talked about, Zay and I are both off next Monday to deal with a couple of mine's a personal issue. I'm not even sure what yours is, so I haven't even asked that question.
I'm just out.
You're just out. You're just taking some. He had some time. He was already taken. Zay's going to take a long weekend this Friday and next Monday. I got to deal with a personal issue next Monday. So we're going to have our man Ty Henderson and going to have Jacob Standard in here next Monday. So we thought we would move Joe. We want to talk to Joe one more time before the show's done. So next Tuesday, it'll probably be 2:05, but we'll let you know for sure. We're going to talk to Joe. We're going to see if we can move his Inside Texas partner, Justin Wells, over to a Tuesday show for the last one. And Zay, I've gotten confirmation today that Brian Jones of CBS Sports may talk to us on the last show.
Oh, that's big time. B. Jones.
Rule number 1 with Brian Jones is I'm not allowed to speak with him until August. But I reached out on special circumstances, and he said he's got us.
There we go.
So we're going to figure out the time for Brian Jones next Tuesday.
By the way, Ty Henderson filled in for you on Friday, did a great job. Ty does great work here at the Horn. Love that guy, even though he's a Westlaker, and we definitely talked about that during the show.
I bet you did.
Make you feel old, Chad? This dude didn't know what In Living Color was. Not the band, the show.
Oh, my God.
Didn't even know
No
it
clue?
existed. No clue.
Does he know who Jim Carrey is? Does he know who
barely.
the Wayans are? Does he
I
know?
don't think he knows the Waynes.
If Damon Wayans walked in this building, would Ty Henderson even know it?
Nope.
Hey, who's that guy? What do you think? Who's
Nope.
that guy?
He
Really?
would probably think it was Ray who works in the building. Because Ray looks a lot like Damon Wayans.
Oh my God. I'm glad you mentioned that show because I can say happy birthday to a former Fly girl today. J-Lo's 54.
Jeannie from the block.
Today.
Wow.
Today, 54 for J-Lo. Still looking like that at 54 years old.
Yeah, she's incredible.
Unreal. Yeah, shout out to Ty Henderson. He'll be, again, a part of the Friday and Monday shows coming up to help fill in for Zay and myself. We appreciate that. We appreciate Joe Cook for doing the Monday interview with us all throughout the last year or so. Up next, let's get you a flex segment, and we will talk blocking and tackling, offensive and defensive linemen for the all-flex watch list. That's how we will crank that up. Zay's got Where We At in Society coming up at 1:45, and trust me, you're going to want to be around at 2 o'clock because Zay and I are going to tell you why an FCS football program has shut down operations for a while because they have to do an investigation, and it's kind of awesome and kind of sad. That's coming up on The Horn.
Chad and Zay.
Well, this sounds like something I should like. This just has guitar all over it. And it's kind of got a little bit of Eddie to it. Is it Van Halen?
Yep.
Yeah. And there's Dave. Okay. I'm not familiar with the song, though. What's it called?
On Fire.
Okay. On Fire. Yeah, sometimes that guitar sound is only one man. And there's only one Diamond Dave. So this sounds like prime Dave before he went crazy. Van Halen, Cheap Trick, and The Clash to get us started today. We hope you are having a great Monday. Lots of stuff football-wise going on over the weekend. We have not mentioned it yet, but congrats to Brian Harmon, the winner of the Open. I watched the final round yesterday from Royal Liverpool. Zay, he kicked some ass yesterday. He went minus 13 in a pouring rain in Liverpool. It never stopped raining. And I mean, at times it just felt like it was pouring on those guys. But he dealt with it. He stretched his lead when he needed to. He knocked down big putts. He had the fewest putts ever in the Open. Ever. More than anyone. Think of anybody that's ever won the British Open. Tiger and Phil and all. Jack, he had less putts than all of them.
With the rain.
With that rain.
That's wild.
He was amazing. Cool story. A Georgia Bulldog, 36 years old, and he just never had gotten to the finish line. He'd had, I think I heard 29 top 10s, and he just hadn't gotten over the hump. Certainly at a major, and now he's won a major. So good for him.
Yeah, congrats, man. That's absolutely big time. I mean, that's doing it in the rain. You named off the legends that have won the Open. Like, that's pretty crazy.
That tournament is always cool to me because you can always get those extremes. You can get super dry conditions on those links courses that makes it tough, or you can get that where you got to go rain suit. Dude, they had the big golf umbrella. I swear he had 5 to 8 gloves hanging off the inside just to keep it dry. So he had all those different gloves to put on just to try to keep it dry. And a towel's hanging in the middle. And so he and the caddy are just trying to keep everything dry the whole day. And it's 6 hours that you're walking through all of that crap.
Yeah.
And you got people. And by the way, the locals did not want him to win. The locals were mouthing off the whole day. They're rooting for Rory to come get him. They're rooting for Cameron Young, or they're rooting for other guys to come get him. Fleetwood, one of their guys, to come get him. Dude, Zay, at one point, like hole 4 or 5, he walks off the green, and a fan says to him, "You don't have the stones to finish." And he said that's the motivation he carried with him the rest of the day.
Locked in.
He's like, yeah, I'm going to show you.
I love that stuff.
And he did. And they booed him. They cheered the other guys more. And they didn't really start loving him until they realized it on about 16, 17. We're like, well, yeah, nobody's catching him, so now we got to cheer for him.
Oh, I wouldn't even want that love.
Extra test, man. When you can win it in somebody else's house like that. I get why they're rooting for the British guys and the European guys, but yeah, they were on him a little hard, but he didn't care. Brian Harmon got it done. That was very, very cool. He's only the 3rd left-handed player to win at the Open. He's only the 5th left-handed guy to win a major ever. Think about that. 5 left-handed guys have won a major, period, in golf. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Him, Weir, Phil, Bubba, and some dude in the back in the day I don't recognize his name.
Yeah.
That's it. That's crazy.
That's pretty wild.
Crazy stuff. Congrats to him. All right, speaking of congrats, we got to throw some congrats to some local products in a flex segment. Let's talk watch list. Here we go.
Flex ATX for the best high school sports coverage. Listen to the Horn and go to FLXATX.com. Flex 30 is brought to you by Brain Vault. Brain Vault is a revolutionary and patented mouthguard that has been proven to help reduce the risk of concussion. Visit BrainVault.com and join the movement.
All right, this is so up to date. We are adding an offensive lineman like in the last few minutes that has been thrown in there. So we're going to give all these guys their love. The All Flex watch list coming out this week, and we start with offensive and defensive line. Again, these are the guys that the Flex crew thinks you got to be paying attention to headed into the season. Not all seniors, obviously a lot of them seniors, but you got some juniors and even sophomores mixed in this year. Let's start on the offensive line side. A name we've mentioned before, big Blake Frazier at Vandegrift. He is the guy that, son of the Michigan offensive lineman, and he's going to be a Michigan offensive lineman if that commitment holds. He got 24 offers, 4-star guy. So Blake Frazier heads up the list. These are in no particular order, but Blake Frazier is certainly a badass. That Vandegrift team should be interesting this year. Also, Easy Orotokai out of Lake Travis, a name we have mentioned. He is on the all-flex watch list. Judson Cook out of McNeil. Shout out to the Maverick. Tyler Knapp from Westlake, one of the big dogs over at Westlake, class of 24 on the O-line. Over in Round Rock, of course, his team won the 7-on-7. Luke was not part of that, but he'll be a part of it when the season comes around. Luke Miller of Round Rock, the big tackle, he is on the all-flex list. Also, McCander Evans from Drip. And as long as we're talking about Drip, we are adding a Drip name. Congrats also to Jacob Pontone, class of 24. He gets added to that offensive line list. Also, Gage Garrison of Vandegrift, back to the Vipers. Over to Glenn with Cameron Morrison. Joel Pazos of Austin High. Class of 25 there. So you're talking about a junior at center. Ryan Casimir at Leander. Ori Williams of San Marcos. Watch out for the Rattlers this year. The Weiss Wolves also could be pretty damn good. And Gerald Mays is a name we keep hearing, and he's a young one. Youngster. Sophomore, but Gerald Mays is a badass. Also, Michael Uini. We've told you that name out of Copper's Cove. I believe he just chose Georgia, to let you know what kind of commit he is. Everybody and their mama wanted him. He's picked Georgia right now, and we'll see what his senior year looks like. Preston Honeycutt from Hutto is another guy we've seen lifting weights on those flex videos. Preston's been getting it done. Also, Jackson Key of Dripping Springs. And finally, Caden Romo of Wimberley. Congrats to all those offensive linemen. And another name I'll throw in, Zay, I'm going to mention coming up here in just a second. I'll mention the name Jacob Henry, but don't forget about Jacob Henry as an offensive lineman. He's at Vandegrift this year. I've seen a little video courtesy of his dad, the world's strongest man, and he looks like he's going to push folks around pretty good on that offensive side too.
Yeah, man. He's a all-state wrestler, so
yeah.
I expect him to be a pretty good offensive lineman.
Yeah, but you could understand why he wouldn't be on the watch list for offensive line since we haven't seen him do that yet.
All right.
Hasn't really done it at the high school level. He has been on the defensive side, and that's where he'll end up as far as the all-flex watch list. Let's go defensive line, the ones trying to disrupt it. If you haven't checked out the Dickey brothers out in Crockett, they are wrecking shop, and Caleb Dickey is the defensive end out there. First-team All-District last year. He's class of 25. These are young guys, too, coming through at Crockett. They had a historic year last year. They're going to try to keep going this year. Also, Jonah Collis of Cedar Ridge, the D-end. How about Caden Dees of Vista Ridge? Oh, I know the jokes are flying in that locker room with that name. Chima Onyejeka of Stony Point. I hope I got close to that one, Chima. Also, the Gus Bus is on the list. Gustavo Gus Bus Cordova of Lake Travis. Love that name. 2022 Defensive Newcomer MVP for the Cavs. Then you got Jacob Henry of Vandegrift. We mentioned him. He was first-team All-District last year. Zay, one of our favorites, Thompson Vickery of Drip.
What position do we got him at? Because we really don't know.
Technically, there's not one listed here. D-line is what we're going to call him.
All right.
We're going to call Mr. Vickery D-line. He was first-team All-District last year, and he's a badass. If you get to watch Drip this year, Vickery's fun to watch. Also on the defensive line, all-flex watch list, Elijah Gonzalez of Drip on that defensive line. I remember watching him a little bit last year, too. Chad Otutu. If you know the Weiss Wolves, you know that name. Big D-tackle right in the middle, and a lot of schools are interested in Otutu. Michael Valente of Georgetown, the defensive tackle, is on the list. Joe Weiss of Leander, as well as Caleb Castro of Cedar Park. So congrats to all those young men for getting on the all-flex watch list. We will be getting the different positions out throughout the week. Today is offensive and defensive line. Tomorrow, we will hit the specialists. 7 a.m. tomorrow. You can check online at flexatx.com and also at Flex ATX on your socials. Kickers at 7 a.m., punters at 8 a.m., long snappers at 9, and return specialists at 10 a.m. We told you all the way down to all those specialized positions, the special teamers and long snappers and everything, going to get their love as well. And we do the Flex segment every day at 1:30. So all Flex watch list out this week. Congrats to everybody who makes that list. Coming up at 2:05, why a football team has to stop for a little bit to do an investigation. It is a story that sounds like we're making it up, but we're not. Up next, where we at in society? We'll see what Zay wants to talk about to lead us into that. We are having fun on a Monday as always. We're glad you're with us. Remember, the Specs text line is 337-3776, and this is The Horn.
Chad and Zay.
Oh, there he is. Ah. God, I miss him every time I hear his voice. Ronnie James Dio or Rainbow or something of the sort? Which one would it be? Or maybe Heaven and Hell? Or Black Sabbath?
Black Sabbath.
It's Black Sabbath.
Black
Okay.
Sabbath.
I got there eventually. Yeah, he's the only guy that sings like that. So it's him. A lot of projects for Ronnie James over the years. And he's the man that gets the biggest amount of credit for the Devil Horns hand sign at concerts. So rest in peace and a big shout out to Ronnie James. Black Sabbath, Van Halen, Cheap Trick, and The Clash on the show today. By the way, on behalf of my daughter and all the fans of Harry Styles, I want to wish Harry just rest because the tour is finally over. He finished, Zay, with a over 100,000 person show in Italy, I think.
Jeez.
Yeah, over 103,000 at the last show. I just hope he gets rest. He's been on tour like almost 2 years now. Just breathe, Harry, if you can, please.
He's getting that bag, man.
Go get some new tats or something, man. All right, so hopefully you're out there seeing some cool concerts over the summer. That is always fun. Or seeing movies. I've been dogged on the text line for seeing Barbie and not Oppenheimer. A lot of people say that Oppenheimer's great. Might have to go see it.
You have daughters, or you have a daughter.
Oh,
and a wife.
don't make it plural.
I'm sorry.
What are you doing? Just one, man.
I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Yes.
You have a daughter.
I have a daughter.
and a wife
Yes.
who was very nostalgic when it came to the
Oh,
Barbie
man, I
movie.
wanted to go see it. I'm like an hour and a half looking at Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
I can live with that. There were other beautiful women in the movie. I like Ryan Gosling. He was great. I mean, I felt like I needed to do some crunches a little bit when I look at Ryan Gosling. But other than that, he was awesome. It's a funny, silly little movie.
Was
And it
there-
is what it is.
Was there any point of the movie, because I obviously have to ask this question for my benefit,
Yes.
that you thought the movie could have been rated R?
No.
I mean, come on.
Not-
Margot Robbie, Gosling,
Not at all.
sex scene, even just like,
There's probably a movie out there that people could recommend for you with each of them in it where you could get that feeling. It's not Barbie. That is not what's happening in this movie.
darn.
Some double entendre, a little bit of that. but
Right. A little adult humor.
a little more of a fun way, not the way you're thinking about it, though.
Oh, man.
All right, real quick, before we get to where we at in society, just an update. Seems like good news on some of these NFL injuries, Zay. C.J. Gardner-Johnson got hurt for the Lions, but they say he's going to be okay, right? The
Yes.
MRI was clean?
Yeah, he'll be all right. It's not as bad as everybody thought it was.
That's good news. Kadarius Toney got a little banged up at Chiefs camp returning kicks, but they think he'll be ready for the start of the regular season. So that is good news. Biggest deal for the Chiefs is that Chris Jones is holding out.
Yeah, that's a big problem.
And he wants like $30 million, I'm reading today.
I mean, he's really good, but he got a lot more than just him now.
Hey, you know me. I'm a defensive guy, so keep that in mind as I say this. I would quote KGB from Rounders and tell the Chiefs, pay that man his money. Pay him.
Wow, he's a lot younger than I thought. He's only 29.
Pay him. I think he's a huge key to why they've won 2 Super Bowls. You want to run it back? You really want a shot at this thing? You really want to try to be special and go back-to-back? I'd make sure that guy's in the middle of my defensive line.
Yeah, when you got to play Justin Herbert twice and Russell Wilson now with Sean Payton twice, he is a big factor to getting those guys on the ground and clogging stuff up. So I get it. He's their anchor on the defensive end, and him wanting his money, that might be a problem, but they'll work something out.
Yeah, I would think they would. So NFL training camps opening this week. Cowboys will get it cranked up this week. That means sometime this week is that Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, Mike McCarthy press conference that makes no sense. It should just be the head coach, but it'll be the Joneses there too because that's what they love to do. So I don't know if that's today or I think that's tomorrow, right? We get Jerry. I think it's the presser tomorrow.
Yeah, usually it's Tuesday.
Yeah, so it'll be tomorrow. All the jokes will be set up for Wednesday with all the silly things Jerry says because nobody wants to take Grandpa's keys. 48 days from first Sunday, which does involve the Cowboys. All right, Zay, let's go where we at in society and jump into it here.
Where are we at in society today?
All right, did you send me something on Twitter, or what do I need to do?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, go on Twitter. We had 2 NBA weddings. 2 perennial all-star guys got married this past weekend, I think on the same day.
Okay.
And I'm going to break down both weddings, and at the end, you're going to decide which one you would rather attend.
All right.
All right, so Trae Young got married.
Okay.
And Joel Embiid got married.
All right. Ice Trae and Embiid.
Yeah, now at Joel Embiid's wedding, he had the legendary Brian McKnight perform.
Wow.
His classic Back at One. 1, you're like a dream come true. 2, just wanna be with you.
Get your
3,
Kleenex ready.
Yeah, come on. It's hard to beat. While the Norman fool, Trae Young, you know who he had perform, Chad?
Toby Keith?
No.
Who?
Quavo from the Migos. See, this is what I'm talking about. Y'all always act like, oh, Zay, I get it. You're a Texas fan. Why do you hate on Norman so much? Because they do idiotic things. Trae Young, this is one of the most special moments in your wife's life. It ain't even about you, bruh. Like, when everybody says, that's why they say, good luck to the wife and congratulations to the groom. It ain't about you. It ain't. So when you decided to bring in Quavo of the Migos, at least bring in the whole Migos. I know Takeoff's no longer with us, but at least bring in Offset. You just got Quavo performing by himself, and it's supposed to be romantic. You don't want to hear nobody, oh, I'm drumming that bag. Yeah, I'm rubbing the bag. Yeah, we running the bag. Yeah, we up in the trap in the mud. Yeah, I don't want to hear that at my wedding.
They might have a love song you don't know about.
Oh, nah, man.
Does he have a solo record with some love songs, maybe?
Like, we're not trying to hear my wife's bad and bougie. Like, that's not where it's at. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to have somebody perform, if you're going to pay all that money, which I get it, Trae Young, you play in Atlanta, Quavo's from Atlanta, y'all are tight. But Joel Embiid, you knocked it out of the park, dog. You know how romantic that? Not too many people can say Brian McKnight performed at my wedding, his hit single for our first dance.
Do you realize how many women got picked up at that wedding? I mean, just think about it. Weddings are supposed to be the place where you can, find a hookup, right? Find a hookup, find a relationship.
Yeah.
You got women in a room like that are now warmed up by the Brian McKnight, not the song, the actual guy and the song. That had to be some reception. Yeah, I'm taking Embiid's.
Yeah, it's easy.
I'm going with the Embiid wedding, Zay, not only because the musical part you just brought up. I would just want to stand somewhere near his wife and continue to look at her. Both these women are beautiful, but holy mackerel. That still shot you sent me of Embiid and his wife, wow.
Oh, yeah.
She's incredible.
Yeah.
She's got that. It's almost like Chrissy Teigen and Kim Kardashian had a baby. Like that kind of super hot brunette combo.
Yeah, Joel's doing well.
She looks incredible. Now, the other woman's gorgeous, too. The other woman's got, you know what? The other woman has a little bit of a Margot Robbie vibe on that profile.
Okay.
A little bit of that kind of smile, too. I'm sure she is a beautiful woman as well, but I'll go with Embiid there. Congrats to those two guys. Zay, my favorite comment on this tweet when I opened it up was somebody tweeted, hopefully they enjoyed their first and last rings. See, that's rude. You can't just let them get married. Good God.
Now, at Joel Embiid's wedding, you found a lot of Philadelphia 76ers. Tyrese Maxey was there. Tobias Harris was there. James Harden was not. James Harden was seen partying this weekend somewhere in Texas because I saw him getting a whole bunch of Bun B's very new burger joint restaurant called Trill Burgers. And James got 5 of those from Bun, and he was taking it over to his party in the VIP section.
So he took the burgers to the strip club? Or
to
just
I think it's just at the club. I think it's at the club or a party.
Okay.
Yeah.
A party. All right.
Yeah, but Bun B's burgers are just blown up in Houston right now. If you go to Houston, you have to have Bun B's Trill Burgers. He's doing it out there. Nice. And people are also referring James Harden grabbing all those burgers because he's on his fat suit game once again. You know how he gets,
right.
Where he starts eating, he bulks up.
He puffs up to make you think he doesn't care. And then just when you think he's done, he gets himself into incredible shape. and then pours like 45 in and goes,
That can't be healthy.
What's going on? No, it can't.
At this point of his career, like 33 years old, James, his weight can't keep fluctuating like that.
I wonder if he calls up like famous actors to get their thoughts on it. Like call up Tom Hanks, who did the Castaway thing, and Colonel Tom, he had to add some weight. Call up our man, what's his name? Brendan Fraser. They put Brendan in a fat suit, I think, for this whale
movie.
That whale movie, but I think he also put some on for that. Call Robert De Niro, one of the most famous ones, right? With was it Raging Bull or whatever, where he had to lose a lot of weight. Just call people like that up, maybe find out how they do it.
I mean, hey, that's acting though. Playing the 82-game season and then trying to win a championship at the end. Not the same, but yeah, hit them up. Maybe get some game from those guys. I don't know.
I could just see James Harden hitting the drive-through. Yep, we're in Operation Round Ball right now, if you know what I mean. It's Round James on the way. So he did not attend Joel Embiid's wedding. That shocks me. Absolutely shocked. The kind of teammate that I thought he was, Zay. I really thought he would be there. Not really.
Yeah, that's a shame.
I did not think he would be there. If you tell me Dr. J was there, I'd actually believe that. That Dr. J would be that classy to say, yeah, you know what, he's a stud Sixer now. If he invites me, I'll go.
Right.
I'll go.
Now, Dr. J would definitely pull a Bucky Gobble at my wedding and leave before the food was even served.
You think so?
Yes. Irish goodbye, his way out. Absolutely.
Is Dr. J still here? Hell no, he's gone. Long time ago. All right, 2 o'clock hour coming up. You think that's a crazy story about a couple of weddings? Wait till you hear this one. The Florida A&M football team has had to stop their activities because they have to do an investigation of what happened in the locker room. We'll tell you what happened next on The Horn. All right, this is Chad. Let's talk sinus and snoring specialist. Just got back off of this week of vacation, sleeping in a different place, different bed, but I slept so great thanks to sinus and snoring specialist. And you can too. If you've had those bad trips, last thing you want to do is come off a vacation and not be rested. and feel like you just didn't get good sleep, Sinus and Snoring Specialists can make sure you're getting good sleep wherever you are. If you think you might have sleep apnea issues, I did too. Moderate obstructed sleep apnea is what I had. If you have sinus issues that you're dealing with, allergy stuff, I had the allergy issues as well. They can get rid of your allergies for good. You can live in the Austin area with all these crazy allergy stories everybody has, and they're not just stories, it's real, but they can get rid of your allergies, develop a special treatment that helps you get rid of those allergies and build up the defenses. So over a 3-year period, I didn't need the pills and sprays, and at one point you don't even need those drops anymore because you've built up the defenses. It is a great process. It is the very latest in ear, nose, and throat technology. So get on in there. Meet Dr. Slaughter in the first consultation. He prides himself on that. Call and set up your appointment today. 512-601-0303 or go to sinussnoringent.com. It's Sinus and Snoring Specialists. Feel clear, rested, and healthy.
Chad and Zay.
All right, let's go hour number 3 on this Monday. Hope you are keeping it cool out there. Probably another 100 and something out there right about now. Feels like it's 100 by like 10 a.m. every day. Hope you're doing well as we get ready to finish off July, as we get ready to finish off your lineup on the Horn. We mentioned it, 5 total shows. After today, it'll be 4 shows for Zay and me left, and our last show will be August 1st. So continue to say goodbye to all of our guys. In terms of the shows themselves, there will be a new lineup on 101.9 and AM 1260 with the Horn that will be announced at some point. That will start on August 2nd. But as of right now, we do not have those specifics for you. So we're going to celebrate the shows as you know them right now, but they will have the last run on August 1st or before then if it applies. Last day for the weekend shows is this weekend, so we'll be reminding you of all that stuff. All right, it's Chad and Zay on a Monday. I'm Chad Hastings. He is Isaiah Collier, and I talked all the way through the beat. Zay starts the third hour with a good beat. I like that one. What was that?
That was Tony Yayo, G-Unit member, so very close to 50 Cent.
Okay.
I Know You Don't Love Me.
Tony Yayo.
Yeah. The song's pretty funny, actually.
Hopefully a song they didn't play at the wedding of Embiid or Trae Young.
Yeah, hey, look, there's nothing wrong with having a little hip-hop at your wedding. We all do it, but like Trae Young, you could have got somebody a little bit more romantic at first to perform, then Quavo.
Okay, admit it. Is it the contrast for you, the fact that Embiid got Brian McKnight? Is there any way Trae Young could have really competed?
Yeah, there's somebody out there that...
What if he had gone with John Legend?
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
That would have been competitive.
Because he has legendary wedding songs.
Yes, that's true.
All of me, all of you. Hey, I ain't got the chops like John Legend. That's why I'm here and not on the road touring. But y'all know what I meant. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
You know what? Don't sell yourself short. Really, there's no need to sell yourself short. Just because at the very beginning of what you were doing there, I thought you were trying to sell me one of those Grimace shakes. Just because of that. You really... It really kind of...
Oh, man.
I never thought of Grimace singing that song, but it could work. That could work. Yes, so if you missed it, Embiid had Brian McKnight singing one of his famous love songs at the wedding, and then Trae Young had Quavo's jamming.
For one, that's not even Joel Embiid's era.
No.
That's a little more old school. You would think John Legend, that's more,
that would be more
2023
now, yeah.
Modern. So for him to go all the way back and to pull that, whatever connection he has with Brian McKnight, man, that's Brian McKnight gets compared to Luther.
And I'm just saying, if you were in that building and you like older women, and there was an older single woman in that room, I can't think that the Brian McKnight hurt your chances.
You on your cougar hunt.
Oh, my God. That's fantastic. All right, a lot of stuff going on today on this Monday. We are 40 days away from Texas and Rice. We talked about the good and bad Texas recruiting news. You heard the good news last week when Zay let you know about the Longhorns and that big D tackle out of Florida, DeAndre Robinson. We talked about that. But bad news over the weekend was the Lancaster safety choosing Clemson. Corian Gibson, the big four-star out of Lancaster, chooses Clemson over Texas. So we talked about that. Getting ready for Texas football, getting ready for college football. The NFL training camps have cranked open. The Hall of Fame game is not far away. That's Jets and Browns. Obviously, you won't get any of the big stars there, but Jets open camp. Garrett Wilson's already looking great with Aaron Rodgers. And so far, the injuries we've heard about have not been serious. Kadarius Toney should be ready for the first game with the Chiefs. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson should be ready with the Lions in time or they think it's not as bad. I don't think they have a timetable for him, but the MRI was clean. They carted him off, which is what freaked
that's the scariest thing.
That freaked everybody out. And again, Zay, we always talk about him. It was one of these no contact, low contact, nothing really happened, and the dude goes down in a heap. The damn turf. I don't know if they were on a turf or not, wherever they are, but those are scary stories.
Now, you didn't mention the Nyheim Hines story.
Oh, that's true. We haven't talked about him with Buffalo. This is okay. So Nyheim Hines, who was with the Chiefs, was with the Colts, now with Buffalo. All I saw earlier today was an injury away from the team, but now we found out it was a jet ski. Is that right?
Yeah. Now, jet ski, crashed into someone, out for the season now.
And I was about to say, his is bad. He's done.
Terrible.
Oh, that is awful.
This is why you sign those contracts and people put in those contracts. Yo, man. You better not be risking your life out here. We need you, Jay Williams.
So let's ask the question. Dalvin Cook? Buffalo?
That's scary.
Does that?
Yeah.
We would joke about it, but now you'd say, hey, you got to wait and see who gets hurt. Sadly, that's the world today of the NFL sometimes. So now does a team like Buffalo have to consider whether it's Dalvin or somebody else?
Yeah, I know Dalvin's been focusing on going back home. He's from Florida, so Miami lights up for him, but hey, if you're trying to win a championship, this was probably your best opportunity. And a team that needs another running back spot, why not?
What about E squared? Ezekiel Elliott. Man needs a job.
I don't know. Yo, Zeke, man, I've been seeing the workout videos and stuff. Just because you do that doesn't mean you're going faster. Everybody always thinks that's a thing. Like in basketball and boxing, like when you're shadow boxing, you're like, making the hissing noises and stuff. They think you're doing something. I don't mean nothing. I don't mean you punch harder and stuff. It just means you sound cool. Or when you throw out a crossover when you're playing basketball or something, you're like, Every time Zeke puts out a video of him working out, he's making more noise than a porn star. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, Zeke, relax, man. Like, I get it. You're doing your thing. You're working hard out here, but that's not going to make a team want you more.
You're telling me that those tennis players aren't hitting the ball harder just because they're screaming?
Look, Serena, cool. I'll take that.
Okay.
Everybody else, y'all doing a little much.
Need to calm it down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring it down a notch.
Bring the volume down. We'll see what happens there with Buffalo. But again, Nyheim Hines out for the year. A jet ski injury. That has got to just drive a coach and a team crazy when you hear about that. All right, Zay, let's get this story out for the people that have not heard it. I can't believe this thing is real. Florida A&M, if you don't know, is a team in the SWAC. They're going to start against Jackson State this year, actually, the Rattlers, assuming that their program is back underway. They have suspended all football-related activities. Following, get ready for it. Now, this is where you can be happy. Because if you're thinking, oh, what happened? More hazing. No, it's not that. Violence against, no, nothing like that. Abuse, no, not really. Following the release of an unauthorized rap video filmed in the team's locker room that contained explicit lyrics. The artist, Real Boston Richie, the song, Zay, is Send a Blitz. And the video for Send a Blitz we watched earlier, I got just shy of a minute in, and I get why there's a controversy. Because it's a little bit more raw than you'd like if you're going to be in my locker room.
Yeah, they crossed the line on this one. Before, when I was like, okay, coach, you're taking this a little bit overboard, suspending everybody, but the rapper was in the locker room, had on merch.
Yep.
Was wearing a helmet at one point.
Yep, wore the hat at one point.
Wore the hat at one point.
Full helmet. Yep.
Rocked the polo with the Rattler on it. And was talking about women in an inappropriate way.
Yeah.
Was talking about guns and shooting.
Yep.
Which, again, you're at another person's college. So if all these lyrics, and everybody seemed they were into it. This is what you listen to before the game. I'll give them that.
I would assume. Yeah.
This is what you listen to. This
Hyped
is like,
up.
yeah.
It's high energy.
But I know nobody had DMX in their locker room making videos. That's not a thing.
Wearing the gear.
Yeah, wearing the gear. And we are in a different era. I just saw Kentucky's basketball team. They had their little summer circuit where they go overseas and they play games and stuff to prepare for the basketball season. And they went to Canada this time around and they practiced because Drake has which is ridiculous, Drake has a basketball court in his mansion. And they practice there. So
wow.
That definitely helps recruiting. And I get that. You're trying to bring, if you're Calipari, you're trying to bring, the culture with the basketball team to make kids want to go to Kentucky. But this ain't it. This once you hear the B's and A's and I'm going to stick you up and all this and that, and we robbing and stuff, you're out of school, bro.
Yeah, it's so quick. It's so quick that it gets into the abuse of a woman in about 10 seconds. If it was just a hype song, if it was just a, let's go, we're a bunch of badasses kind of a song, maybe. But in the locker room, now they're stopping to try to figure out, how did this happen? How did they get into our locker room to film this video? Helmets are being worn, shoulder pads. You mentioned the polo. My favorite part is that at one point, Real Boston Richie is in the polo, not the shirt, not like a jersey, like the polo with the collar, with the Rattler.
Like a coach's polo.
Yeah, with the Rattler logo on the left breast and the Nike swoosh on the right breast. And he's got like a chain, almost dare I say, Cuban links kind of vibe, like a thicker chain, right? I've learned about the Cuban links.
Okay.
Thanks to you.
Yeah,
so it's a little
Raekwon.
more of that, a little more of the thick chain. And then he's got the polo on in the video. So while it's not the worst thing in the world, probably not something you want to have in your locker room. Now, Zay, you had an interesting tie-in here to the University of Texas because you told me that when you saw this story and then saw the video, you then saw what right after that?
Keelan Robinson. He has a new video out where he's at a motel living it up, which is fire. I've seen Keelan Robinson have some great videos around town and stuff. He had a video.
He is talented. For those that don't know,
talented.
Keelan's not just a football player that thinks he can rap. He is a football player that thinks he can rap, and I would say he's right.
Oh, absolutely.
He's very good.
Yeah, but I haven't seen him. And plus, his lyrics aren't crazy. He's not talking about it. He's talking about getting this bag and, the stuff same stuff that P. Diddy be talking about. But it's just more modern. What? Real Boston Richie talking about?
No.
Uncle Luke will probably be offended by this. That's how vulgar and nuts it is. I don't think the whole team should get suspended. I don't see how many players are on the roster? I don't see all 80-something players in the locker room, so I think that's a little bit extreme.
And that's the thing. There may be, I think the other reason they're looking into this, I think there's current players in the video. I think there are a couple players in the video, so they're looking at it for that. But this is one of those, Zay, when it's an idea that I think Lane Kiffin would say no to. instantly. You need to double think it. Bill Self at his worst. Bill Self at his, let's have Snoop Dogg show up and throw money around after they accused us of cheating. Like that Bill Self would still say no to this.
Yeah, I'm watching the video now. The dude's walking around outside with a double styrofoam cup, which there's not lemonade in there. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's the cup for lean.
Wait, there's an official lean cup?
Yes.
Really?
It's a styrofoam cup.
Okay, wait, how far into the video do I see the lean cup?
About around a minute.
About a minute. Let me see. There's
yeah.
I didn't realize there was an official.
Yes. You
Okay.
never see what's in the cup unless they actually show you, but that definitely symbolizes
that
especially
cup.
the double cup. When it's one on top of the other.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
That means there's some serious stuff, purple drink in the walk.
So that doesn't mean you're just thirsty.
No.
That means okay.
No, there's not usually just, Kool-Aid in the double styrofoam cup.
Dude,
That's not how it goes.
Why couldn't he just do the gas station and hang out outside? Why do we have to be in the locker room? Oh my God, that is crazy. That is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, the girl's twerking in the video. That's not the best.
Oh my God, if you're the coach, I wonder how he found out. Like, did somebody, coach, I've never started a sentence like this, but go to YouTube. Like, what? Yeah. Just go search this, blah, blah, blah. And then he's got to sit down with the players in question and go, okay, let's walk through this. How did this happen? How did you get in this locker room? Because then some staff member probably had to let him in. Or maybe they
got their own key cards.
Oh, they have key cards that just get them in,
each
right?
Each player has their own key card, yeah.
That's true. So that gets them in so they can get in, I guess. I don't know if it's a 24/7 thing, but they can get in. You're using official helmets. My God.
If the song wasn't so explicit, then I don't think there would be a problem. Like if he was literally just talking about football,
right,
and had football puns and double entendres and stuff,
right.
Like I get it's called In the Blitz, so they're in the football locker room, but it has nothing to do with football,
right?
At all.
If it was a reference to the Rattlers, if it had like a Snake vibe, or just a we're badass vibe, or like I said, we're just getting ready for a game. Let's go. If it was called Whoop Deion's Ass, if that was the name of the song, because you play Jackson State first, I think you may get away with it.
I might have to start jamming Real Boston Richie now.
Were you aware of who he was?
No.
Okay.
Clue.
No idea.
No clue. I do not know what's going on in the young wave for this young generation.
It's interesting that he's called Real Boston Richie, but it's clearly there's a focus on Florida A&M. That's interesting. And then who is the other Boston Richie? There's two of them? To where you're the real Boston Richie?
You're getting old. Now you're going.
I'm sorry, I am, yes. Who's got the official Twitter account? That's what I want to know. That's what I'm trying to figure out. All right, they're on the case at Florida A&M. Let's also realize, Zay, on a more serious side, remember Florida A&M is the place that at one point had to get rid of their marching band because of hazing.
Really?
I don't know if it's come back yet. I'd have to look up the history of that. They literally discontinued their marching band because of hazing. That happened a few years ago.
Yikes.
That's an example I always use when we discuss hazing because it's not just about the crazy things, the stereotype that you would think. A marching band got shut down because of that stuff, and that was Florida A&M, if I'm remembering correctly. So now they're dealing with this story. Hopefully they can figure out how real Boston Richie got into the locker room. Send a Blitz. Quite a song. Quite a song. You might even be able to play it a little bit before a game on the sound system, but you'd have to edit it. You'd have to edit it right away. Come on now.
You think Real Boston Richie, like whoever he has beef with, their retaliation to send the Blitz will be like cover 3?
Yes. And they'll film it in the Jackson State locker room because Deion's gone. That's what it'll be.
What do you got to lose?
Yeah, right. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Everybody's transferred. Everyone's transferred. You need a little attention. Yes.
Send the Blitz. No football reference. Just straight ridiculousness. Like the things that he said, please y'all go listen to it. I wish we could play it, but for obvious reasons we can't.
Yeah, the response diss track will be called Max Protection, but it'll just be about beating an innocent person senseless. That's what it'll be about. And they'll film it inside a locker room. Oh, my God. All right, there you go. The latest from College Football Madness. It's not just about NIL. It's sometimes about where they were filming videos. So be glad if you're a fan of any other team that your guys are not filming weird stuff in the locker room. Hopefully they're keeping this weird stuff away from at least that, and maybe staying away from the truly weird stuff. All right, coming up, Why Today Matters, July 24th. I already mentioned a birthday, but we'll have to mention it again since it is her birthday. Also, a couple of big dogs in the world of sports, and one of the most famous moments in the history of sports happened on this day. We will hit that one coming up. Before we get out of here, we'll revisit those NFL injuries again. Training camps opening, injuries happening, some not so bad, one really bad for the Buffalo Bills. We'll get into all of it on the Horn.
Chad and Zay.
On my Irvin Magic Johnson, I'm enterprising. I keep it ghetto like the hood before they gentrified it. I might burn this down, left eye Andre Rising. I can't trust you built for Cuban links unless we tied in.
See, if you'd done that in the Florida A&M locker room, you'd had a better shot. Making sports references right away. Andre Rison, Magic Johnson, you'd be good. All right, so Zay, since I heard a Cuban Links reference, I'm going to guess Raekwon.
No.
Just for the hell of it.
No, but this guy and Raekwon are very close.
Oh, okay. Well, I get half a point. All right,
Yeah.
who is it?
This is Nas.
Oh, okay.
He dropped a new album on Friday called Magic 2.
Oh.
This song is called Irvin Magic Johnson.
So Nas is also, for you documentary fans, they're about to throw a new documentary series out on, I think it's Vice, about the history of hip-hop, and Nas narrates it.
Nice.
So they're going to go, they're interviewing a lot of heavyweights throughout the years. This is the 50th. This is being considered the 50th anniversary of hip-hop, I believe.
That's right, yeah.
So it's a series. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet if they're going like artist by artist or if they're going era by era and year. I don't know how they're doing it, but Nas is narrating, I think, the whole thing.
Yo, he should be. He's one of the top 5 rappers ever. I know that's obviously subjective, but man, he's dropped 5 albums in the last 3 years. He's won a Grammy. Like, after he was already considered one of the greatest
Right.
of all time, he then won a Grammy after that.
He's keeping it up.
So he's keeping it
Yeah.
up, and that's rare in hip-hop. Usually they don't let you. They always say you're old, you need to go back home, but his flow is so different. He was never a flashy guy, so him aging is just like wisdom.
Yeah.
You know,
Good.
it's crazy.
Good for him, man. That's a hard thing to do. Hard to keep that edge. But if he's keeping it to where the fans are still digging it and he's still Nas at that point and it doesn't feel like he's just an old man trying to pull it off, that's awesome.
It's incredible.
Shout out to him. Nas, Black Sabbath, Van Halen, Cheap Trick, and The Clash all on the show today. Plus the Tony Yayo beat to start the hour.
Yeah, because like Snoop's still going too, but it's different. It's just different, which I think Snoop and Nas, like Snoop's a legend in his own right, but I think Nas is on a different level than him. But yeah, man, what Nas has done these last few years, like he's a lot closer than Jay-Z than people think. I know people always put those two as rivals because they had beef and stuff, and everybody considers Jay-Z top rapper of all time. Hov hasn't dropped an album since what, 2016, maybe 2018, Fo. Nas dropped the album again 5 in the last 3 years. So
if it's about being prolific,
yeah,
Nas is right there. Yeah,
the
okay.
Dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
Got stuff out there. All right. There are a lot of things going on today on this July 24th. We hope you are having a good one. There's a lot of football stuff out there, but also some other reasons why today matters. Let's jump on in here. One of the reasons why today matters for the local football players around these parts is the All Flex Watch Team. We announced it in the Flex segment earlier, and if you go to @FLXATX on Twitter, your social media, you can see the full list there. We had somebody from Dripping Springs say, "Thank y'all, Flex. This Drip O-line is different. Best around." Go see how many of the Dripping Springs offensive and defensive linemen are on that list. Tomorrow, it will be the specialists that get their love. Speaking of getting their love, let's get some birthday shout-outs here. Some of the best ever. Karl Malone is 60 today. Nice big round number for one of the best power forwards ever. Old school Karl Malone.
Louisiana Tech.
Louisiana Tech, too. If you ever see Karl Malone live, you'll know. Louisiana Tech. There's some country in that man.
Oh, yeah, seriously.
He's a mountain of country is what he is.
Yeah, he fit into Utah way too well.
Yeah, he did. He absolutely did. Karl Malone, 60. Barry Bonds is 1 year behind him at 59 for one of the greatest baseball players that ever lived, no matter what your pharmacist says. Barry is 59. Arizona State is that old school, in case you don't know. Also, Wonder Woman from my generation, Linda Carter, 72 today. Linda Carter, fantastic. Also, shout out to Kramer, Michael Richards, 74. I guess there's folks that wouldn't still say happy birthday to him after the incident many years ago.
Then he dropped the N-bomb or something?
Oh, he didn't just drop it. Oh, my God.
Kramer!
He sprayed the room down with it.
Oh,
Unfortunately,
Kramer.
it was such a terrible moment. It was such a horrific moment. It's just one of those lessons for kids. Go back and research that situation and then just remind yourself that sometimes that's all it takes. It's that little moment. Because he came back around and tried the, I can't believe that happened. I'm not a racist. That's the craziest thing about this. That's just a tough argument to make when you do it like you did it. Oh my God. That's just wild.
Oh man. Has he been in anything else?
I mean, he certainly hasn't done anything since. He had to be basically retired from stand-up because of it.
Because we know Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Veep, and different things like that. I've seen Jason Alexander time to time in things. He's really good in Shallow Hal as Jack Black's friend.
Here and there, yeah.
Other than that, not much. And Seinfeld, he just does the comedian cars and stand-up and stuff. But Michael Richards doesn't really have much range after Kramer.
No. Well, again, that took the range away. Whatever range there was gone.
What year was that?
06, I believe. Yeah. 06. He'd done some guest spots here and there. I forgot, they made a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode after that, where he went on there and they tried to sort of massage it, poke fun at it, whatever, and there's no way back. There was no way back from that, man. I hope Michael Richards is having a good birthday, as good as he can have right now. I mentioned J-Lo having a birthday today. She's 54. And yesterday, Woody Harrelson, Slash, and Gary Payton share a birthday. The Glove, Zay, 55 years old.
Man.
This year.
Yeah, one of the best defenders of all time. George Karl, shame on you for not putting the Defensive Player of the Year on Michael Jordan in the 96 finals. It took three freaking games from the real. Game 4, we're down 0-3. Maybe I should put the Defensive Player of the Year on Michael. I don't know.
You don't want to rush into decisions like that, Zay.
Yeah.
You really don't.
I can't believe Detlef Schrempf can't guard MJ. What is going on? This is preposterous. Why can't Detlef stop him? I can't believe it.
It's a shame because all he probably had to do was ask Detlef Schrempf, hey, it's just you and me.
Now,
do you think you can check Mike? Detlef would probably look at him and say, just shake the head. Don't say a word. Just no.
Yeah, there might have been a language barrier there, him being German. I don't know. Now, I know Hershey Hawkins was the main guy checking Mike, but still, it's that easy. He was Defensive Player of the Year. But George would probably say, I don't want Gary's offense to be taken away. Damn his offense.
Yeah.
Damn it. I'm pretty sure GP's in good enough shape. We'll be okay.
Y'all are drowning in the offense Michael is putting on you. That's what you have to worry about.
Yeah. GP, man. Feel bad for him on that. He got his ring, though, to your expense, 06. He had that huge shot. I don't know what game it was.
Man, I
forgot. Hit one of the clutchest shots that doesn't get remembered in NBA history. I forgot
he was on that team.
Oh, he had a huge shot to win the game. I don't know if that was 3 or 4.
Wow. Okay, so all right, so let's walk back through this. So nothing in Seattle, obviously. He got put on that 04 Lakers team that didn't get it done.
Correct.
Right? And then you're telling me he was on the 06 Heat team that came back on the Mavs.
Yeah, he was weirdly.
I forgot about
with
that.
Milwaukee. I don't know if it was in between Seattle and LA. That sounds right to me.
Okay.
Or it might have been right after LA. I don't know. But he had a little stint in Milwaukee.
Okay.
And when all of those washed guys ended up in Miami, like Antoine Walker and Jason Williams and Gary Payton and somehow Dwayne Wade and Shaq ends up just taking these guys and winning the finals. We know what happened there. We're not going to get to it.
We don't need to go through that. We don't need to go through that. No need.
But
don't tell me about 15 strong and everybody put in a picture of their kids. I don't want to hear all those stories anymore. Zay, today is National Tequila Day. On your honeymoon, was tequila a part of it?
Nope.
No tequila?
Never.
Ever?
I've done it before, but I've had bad experiences.
Tequila is one of those things you got to pay for. Some things you don't. Some things you can go with a generic brand and you're okay. Pay for tequila. If you're going for tequila, pay for the good versions of it. because the really good high-level stuff is incredible.
Okay.
You just got to do that. Don't go cheap tequila.
Yeah, that's
especially
my problem.
cheap gold tequila. Stay away from the cheap gold tequila because they're trying to bring you in with the gold. Look, it's gold tequila and it only cost. No, run from that. Buy the really high-level stuff.
Did you have any tequila this past week?
I had a couple margaritas, so yes.
There we go.
Yes, I did. Had a couple really good margaritas. Yesterday was National Vanilla Ice Cream Day, one of my favorite things on the planet. Are you a vanilla ice cream guy primarily, or is there another flavor?
Yeah, OG vanilla bluebell. I'm good with that. Maybe put some hot fudge or chocolate syrup on that. Always put it on ice cream, any type of cobbler, peach cobbler, blackberry cobbler, cherry pie, like vanilla ice cream. Big in my life.
Yeah, that's my base right there. I'll go to other flavors eventually. That's my base is vanilla. All kinds, country and vanilla bean and all those different. And then, like you said, put stuff on top.
Yeah, I've never been a vanilla bean guy.
I'll do that. Country vanilla.
Yeah.
You just put a year on it. What did HEB do? 1905.
1905.
Sure. What's so special about 1905
I don't know what
and vanilla?
that means.
No clue.
They got two different ones. They have a homemade vanilla and the 1905, and both of them taste really different than one another.
Both tasty. Both very, very good.
How about the Mexican vanilla, Amy's Ice Cream?
Yes, love it.
That's a go-to.
Love the Mexican vanilla. And with Amy's, I have discovered something recently. For those that love Fruity Pebbles, do sweet cream with Fruity Pebbles on top and beaten inside. Oh, Zay, that's so good. The sweet cream ice cream with the Fruity Pebbles. It's like you're eating a bowl of cereal and you love it.
I might have to check that out.
It is so good. All right, National Vanilla Ice Cream Day. That was yesterday. And today is the 40th anniversary of the Pine Tar game with George Brett. One of the great fits that's ever been thrown in sports. There are not many that can match what George Brett did that day. And they look at it and they think about it. And when they called him out, he loses his mind. They actually came back later and finished the game. Like, I don't know if it was days later, a couple days later or whatever. That was one of the weirdest, strangest games. I think Billy Martin was the manager of the Yankees at the time. It was just such a silly game.
Yeah, you're going to have to go through this for me. It's 1983. I have no idea what's going on.
So 83, George Brett, I believe, he either hits a home run or gets the winning hit, scores the winning run or tying run, big run in the late part of the game. I think it would have been the winning run. And then Billy Martin walks out and says there's too much pine tar on the bat. There was only a certain amount. So the rule they had at the time was if you laid the bat down across home plate, the pine tar could not extend past the base in terms of the amount you put on. And I guess they thought he put a little bit too much on. So the umpire turns, points at Brett, signals out, and then George Brett appears to be like bulldog rushing him to either kill him or seriously hurt him. They stopped him, they grabbed him, and he was so mad. And then then they call him out. They finish the game, I think, and the Yankees won the game. And then I think they went back later and replayed it from that point. And then the Royals won the game. I think that's what it was. It's been 40 years. All those details I do not have. But it was a wild game.
Wow.
Wild game. The Pine Tar incident. If I got some of that wrong, Craig Way is going to text me right now.
Yeah,
all
Craig
the stuff I got wrong.
Yeah.
No, Chad, it was this game first. Yeah, I know. I probably messed it up. All right, so that's why today matters to us, July 24th, the 40th anniversary of the Pine Tar game. I wonder if our man Mike Harge has a little memory of the Pine Tar game. Somehow I think he might. Coming up, stems and seeds, injuries around the NFL. Some of them, thankfully, are not bad. One of them, unfortunately for the Bills, is really bad. And wait till you hear the extra detail on this story. It's terrible. And it's next on The Horn.
Don't sweat the tech.
Chad and Zay.
Don't sweat the technique.
Oh, like the horn section there. All right, wrapping it up on a Monday. This sounds like we're going way back, Zay.
Yeah.
Should I know it?
No.
All right, who is it?
Eric B. and Rakim.
Ooh, nice. Okay,
Eric B. the producer, Rakim the rapper.
nice. Yeah, I knew we're headed back. That's all the way back. That's 80s, right?
Yeah, I don't know if this song's 80s, but yeah,
Late
they
80s,
came
90s.
out late
Okay.
80s. Right.
Eric B. and Rakim. Rakim. Nas, Black Sabbath, Van Halen, Cheap Trick, and The Clash. The Tony Yayo beat to get the hour started. There'll be plenty of thanks from now to the end. But I do need to thank Zay publicly for all the good music he has exposed me to on this show. It's one of my favorite things about anybody I come in contact with, especially the people that I get to work with, in radio through the years. Music to me tells me something about you. What do you like? What you don't like? And so I always love finding out musically what people are about. So it's been fun talking music with Zay. When I realized he was a music snob like me, I knew that this was going to work on that level as well. So shout out to Zay for all the great music that he comes up with on the show. And the discussions that we have definitely been fun over the years. We will roll it through this week. And again, the last show will be next Tuesday on August 1st for Zay and myself. New lineup cranks up on 101.9 and AM 1260 and the app on the Horn on August 2nd. And if we get any details before the 1st that we can let you know, we will certainly do that. All right, before we get out of here, let's go stems and seeds, the good and the bad from NFL injuries.
No stress, no seeds, no stems, no sticks.
Brought to you by AV Consultations, 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. Man, this Nyheim Hines story gets worse by the second. How about this? He was stationary on a jet ski, and he was struck by another rider, and it sustains what they're calling a serious but non-life-threatening injury. That part is great, but he will miss the entire season and have surgery. Zay, I'm all for these guys being safe and let's not be reckless or whatever. My man's just sitting on a jet ski and he gets hit by another one.
Just chilling.
That sucks, man. I know some people think jet skis are like the most dangerous thing you could possibly ride, but I'm not one of those. I just think you need to do it safely, but he's just sitting there and gets hit. Now, that's the wrong kind of karma right there.
Yeah, I know I'm going to sound like a Grady Dick here, but he's a running back. His peripheral vision has to be better, right? I don't know. That's just me.
But what's he supposed to do if you're about to get hit by another jet ski? What do? I'm supposed to
turn it on?
Jump past it into the lake like I'm Jason Statham in an action movie?
That's true. NFL, y'all need to look into this because for some strange reason, I'm thinking this is a Jets, Patriots, or Dolphins fan. Look into it, NFL. It's a little sketchy.
Oh, my God.
It's a little sketchy. I've been on the jet ski before, and I don't think anything like this could ever happen to me. The fact that it happened to an athlete like him, just look into it, NFL. That's all I'm saying.
Reports say that a man wearing a blingy 8 necklace and kind of looking like Aaron Rodgers was driving away from the lake.
Yo, if Tanya Harding could be Tanya Harding, I don't think this is too far-fetched. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, my God. By the way, I did finish I, Tanya. Another one good. Margot Robbie's excellent in that.
She has a deep bag.
Excellent in that.
She has a deep bag.
By the way, Tanya Harding's had a rough life, but the moment somebody told her Margot Robbie was going to play her in a movie, that's good stuff.
Right? It's like Sonny Vaccaro and what? Matt Damon?
Exactly.
What are we doing?
Not a day in their lives did they look that good. Not a day. All right, so we hope Nyheim will get better very soon. The good news is that C.J. Gardner-Johnson of the Lions looks like he'll be okay with a leg injury. Carted off at practice, but the MRI was clear. The other good news is Kadarius Toney for the Chiefs. He tweaked something while he was returning kicks. They checked it out. They think he'll be good. He'll miss a couple practices, but they think he'll be fine for the start of the year.
They're saying this dude's supposed to have a Tyreek Hill-like season. So all that crap that he went through in New York, we know he was disgruntled there. They were disgruntled with him. They know how seriously he took the game. And, now he's been very petty about winning the ring with the Chiefs and getting traded midseason. I know he stuck his middle finger ring up to everybody in New York. He said that in a video recently. But he has a lot of potential. We know that. Do I think he could be a Tyreek Hill guy? That's saying a lot because, Tyreek Hill, without Patrick Mahomes last year, had his best season with Tua in and out of the lineup. So Tyreek Hill's on another level, but they are very similar in player because they're both very fast, quick twitch guys, and Patrick Mahomes makes everyone better. So we'll see.
Yeah, the versatile weaponry and everything. By the way, as a kind of a last thing here, have you finished The Quarterback yet on Netflix?
No.
I'm done. Unbelievable. I told myself that's one of the things I'm going to do on vacation. I'm just going to chill. I'd wake up early in the morning before the girls got up, and I just watched.
Right.
Dude, it's so addictive. So good. Made me respect all three guys a lot more. But more than anything, it makes you respect the toughness of Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. You get to go through all of that with him. Every little moment with that ankle and the re-injury and trying to go through it when Andy Reid says, I'm taking you out, and he screams F no at his own head coach. Like, you get to go through all of that. It's awesome. If you love